You come over.
This is when I can.
Going to give a 1-minute warning. It is now 9 a.m., but we're going to wait a minute. I know Commissioner McAllister is slip sliding this way, and Mr. Andrews is getting some water. They get a little free advertising.
I couldn't just show around.
Where
By my
about?
house, the 72.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 9:02 a.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Commissioner McAllister will join us as he can. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. I believe for today's invocation, Commissioner Walter.
Yes, and in the interest of time, I'm going to pass today.
All right. Bless you. So, Ms. Shealy, when you're ready, a roll call, please.
McAllister? Not yet. Flynn?
Here.
Walter?
Here.
Spence?
Here.
Henschel?
I'm here.
Nelson?
Yes, here.
Andrews?
Here.
Morris?
Here.
Seifert?
Here. All right, I'll entertain a motion to approval of minutes as presented.
So moved?
Support.
Awesome. We have a motion by Commissioner Andrews, second by Commissioner Henschel to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Ms. Shealy, first public comment.
Any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the Board of Commissioners which is required to be open to the public under the provisions of the Michigan Open Meetings Act. Public comment shall be carried out in accordance with the following board rules and procedures. Any person wishing to address the board may state his or her name and township or district, providing a specific address is not recommended. Persons may address the board on matters or issues which are relevant and germane to county government as determined by the chairperson. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding time needed to answer commissioners' questions, if any. The chairperson shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes. The chairperson may, at his or her discretion, allow an additional opportunity or time to speak if determined germane and necessary to the discussion. Public comment will be solicited during the 2 public comment periods noted in Rule 5.4 Order of Business. However, public comment may be received during the meeting when a specific agenda topic is scheduled for discussion by the board. Prior to the first public comment, the chairperson will indicate the topics on the agenda for which public comment will be accepted. Members of the public wishing to comment should raise their hand or pass a note to the clerk in order to be recognized and shall not address the board until called upon by the chairperson. The board shall not comment or respond to a person who is addressing the board. Silence or non-response from the board should not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement by the board. Please be respectful and refrain from personal or political attacks.
Thank you. So we have a lot of issues on here today. The only thing I'm going to request, we do have a public hearing later on for the health department, an issue about tattooing. If you want to make a comment on that, I'm going to ask you that you hold your comments till that time. Other than that, please just make your way to the podium and tell us who you are and speak your piece. You have 3 minutes. Anybody? Just go right up ahead. Thank you.
You could actually form a line.
Good morning. My name is Carrie Noga, and I am a resident of District 7. And I am, that is the Oakwood Triangle neighborhood, and that is germane to my comment this morning regarding the airport request later on your agenda. I'm a member of that Oakwood Triangle neighborhood, which is just north of TVC, bounded by Parsons, Munson, 8th, and Garfield. And more specific to the issue on the agenda, directly beneath the path of the north-south runway into TVC. Pursuant to your agenda, I'd like to advocate that you vote against lending your full faith and credit to the airport expansion project. I wrote to you on this matter prior to your study session last month, as did some of my other neighbors, and some of us are also here in the audience today. Alex, if you wouldn't mind giving a shout out. This has been a matter of concern to our association, and we believe that you should preserve your credit rating for your own future projects. In my estimation, the jail is the top priority. You've been hearing, from your own sheriff that that needs updating for several years, and I am far more concerned about crowding at the jail than I am crowding at the airport for a few months of the year. And I believe it is in your interest to serve the needs of your resident constituents, not the visitors to Traverse City who are driving the desire to expand the airport to meet that demand for a few months of the year. I don't deny the economic benefit that TVC brings to the region. I'm a traveler, I use it. But I feel that, as has been stated in the Record Eagle by Commissioner Andrews just the other day, and as well as a couple letters to the editor, that cost should be borne by passengers, not by we resident taxpayers of Grand Traverse County. So in conclusion, please vote no on the full faith and credit request by the airport. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eric Dreyer. I live in Peninsula Township. And I want to first thank you all for allowing us to address you at this time, and thank you for your many, many hours of service. I read your minutes and I look at the packet and I see maybe it was like 500 pages today. So I know you guys have been more than busy. Like my predecessor, I wanted to address you regarding the airport expansion. And I'm concerned about it from many, many reasons, but I'll only list a few of those. As commissioners, you have great statutory responsibilities: law enforcement, our courts, maintaining a jail, health department, providing care for impoverished seniors, as well as many other things. From reading the commission minutes, I know that the long-term plans call for many, many dollars, tens of millions, perhaps over $100 million, to do things to improve the jail and the project out on the new campus. So your responsibilities are very wide and very serious, while the responsibilities of the airport are really just singular. Not many years ago, our county was in serious fiscal condition, and the board at that time was very limited in options. Fortunately, Mr. Bott and his department worked us out of that, and I was always thankful that he was able to do that without serious repercussions. Now the airport authority is asking the county to subsidize and back up their bonds. And I'm concerned about that for several reasons. They want to obtain a lower interest rate, which, according to the sources I've read, indicate that they will save about $600,000 a year in interest. If the airport hits its goal of 1 million travelers, that's less than $1 a person if they charged for their full faith and paid for it on their own. It's less than $1 per ticket. So 30 years is a long time, and as an independent authority, they should assume sole responsibility for their own financing and not rely on the county. Yet another negative aspect of this is the situation where will other units of government come and ask for help? Will Beta need help? Will Munson need help? Townships? Where does this all end? The great irony here for me, thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Andy Fountain. I'm with Plant Moran Real Point. Also here with me today is Tori Mannix, also with Plant Moran Real Point. I'm here this morning just to express our gratitude for the opportunity and the ability to participate in the solicitation process that was issued by the county for the jail facilitation RFP, as well as the program management RFP. We understand the significance of these two projects. We're excited at the prospect of being able to partner with Grand Traverse County on these two very important initiatives. We're here today. If you have any questions, we're happy to answer those as you have your discussion. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Bruce Moore in East Bay Township in Commissioner Henschel's district. A 700-page packet is ridiculous. This agenda is a 6-hour agenda, and you really should not attempt to do this much stuff in one meeting. For today, I would like to draw your attention to page 634 in the packet. It's a slide entitled Projected Debt Service and Coverage, parentheses, 2027 TIFIA Financing. It begins, alternatively, should the authority secure a TIFIA financing for the second series, we estimate the following results. They don't have TIFIA financing right now. As someone who is risk averse, I don't care what this chart says. I want to know what happens if they don't get this financing. The first word on this slide, alternatively, implies that there was a previous slide in the original PFM presentation, which probably had the version with showing the coverage ratio without that financing. That's the slide that I want to see. It's not included in your packet. In previous versions of this, the coverage ratio was shown as greater than 2. This one shows it at 1.5. That's a little bit concerning. I didn't care very much about showing confidence intervals when it was at 2 or over 2. At 1.5, I care a lot about confidence intervals. That's a computational risk assessment that today is very easy to do. It's been included in consumer retirement portfolio analysis for 15 years. It should be included in this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Aaron Wright. I'm a resident of East Bay Township in District 5, and I live right at the south runway of the airport. I'd like to speak to you about that today. I would advocate that y'all vote no on bonding for the airport authority. Much like everybody else has said before, I'm not going to kind of harp on those points. I thought Commissioner Andrews' opinion piece the other day in the Record Eagle really spoke volumes to the, what needed to be done. I would just can kind of refer to all of that input that was put out to the public as sort of the guide for what brought me here today. I also wrote down some notes. I just think she spoke really well to like the 30-year plan, right? Thinking about travel patterns, increased traffic, what the kind of strain that adds to the infrastructure of our county. Otherwise, there's just a lot that's going to go along with that. You know, I live in an area that has an explosion of hotels. I'm sure that there would be more of that going on. And obviously, we need a place for people to stay in town, but I just don't think the risks outweigh the benefits there, and so I would advocate that you please vote no. And thanks. It's my first public comment. It's been a lot of fun. I also work for the county, so I appreciate what you guys do. It's nice of us all to be taking care of our community. So, cheers.
Thank you.
Good morning. Ron Klaus from Green Lake Township. In hearing some of the comments regarding the airport bonding, I was going to talk about the bonding specifically, just the, excuse me a minute. But when I was on the commission, we worked with Munson Hospital. I'm sure not the same way in the bonding, but we provided them the opportunity to use our credit rating to get their bonding to buy a hospital up in Sheboygan. And that was obviously not in our area, but here we have an opportunity to help the airport and help the community with expanding the airport. I don't know how I would vote on it if I was sitting in the seat, but the thing that I wanted to bring up is that I continue to get I guess it'd be like panhandling through the mail from Munson Hospital, and it's a little upsetting. They're a nonprofit, I understand that, but when I look at the 990 form for the nonprofit filings, and I see that in 2014, Ed Ness, his compensation was $1,031,000. He has since been able to increase that by 242% to a $2,497,000 compensation. I'm just asking Munson Hospital to take me off their mailing list for panhandling. And thank you for listening, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Merry Christmas to you, Mr. Claus.
Good morning, Jim Crothers, and I'm a Traverse City resident. I'm here to speak on the Northern Regional Airport Authority's bonding request. 35 years ago, the community discussion was about moving the airport away from downtown. We knew that the region was growing. We knew that we needed to provide a resource to the entire up north region, and we knew that a quarter of the Traverse City landmass could be redeveloped for this growth by moving this airport. That discussion was reaffirmed during the Grand Vision process and many other planning processes we've had over the years. I know that's a hard thing to think about in today's world with the cost of everything, but we're talking about $120 million airport renovation at this current juncture, with a $70+ million bond backing by the county. You have other projects, the jail, a possible new law enforcement center, a new administration offices, infrastructure from water, sewer, sidewalks, roads all over the county that you're responsible for, and we, the taxpayers, are responsible for. We're starting to tax ourselves out of affordability. We have the affordability conversation all the time around housing and who can and can't live in Traverse City. These requests are only putting more burden on the taxpayers. and the future burdens that we might face if unelected people serve on authorities that make decisions for us. We don't even have representation from city government on the airport authority at this point. And the residents of Traverse City, we all live in the crash zone. It's our responsibility to hold you all responsible for the dangers and the challenges we face with this regional airport. The region's benefiting from it, but the city and Grand Traverse County is having to pay for it. If it's a regional airport, then the region should be supporting this, the airline should be supporting this, and as a regional hub airport, I fly into many tourist areas. They're busy for a portion of the year and not the entire year. We get great flights for a portion of the year. What are we doing this for? We can't even handle the ground transportation as it is. How many times have you all sat on a flight on the tarmac waiting for a gate because we don't have enough ground crew? We pay the administration high dollars, but we don't have the contracts to have enough ground crew to service the traffic that we have at this point. Expanding the airport might help that, but are we going to actually expand staff? Is the authority going to monitor that? I mean, growth is what's happening to Traverse City. We need to be mindful and wise about it. And frankly, putting all the burden on the taxpayers for all the growth and the residents is just not wise at this time. This needs to be rethought, and a broader community discussion needs to be had over this. Very little community input has been able. Yes, there's been public hearings and plans out there, but this is a big deal for the city of Traverse City and the region, and I think it needs further discussion before any approval by you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Harold Lassers, Acme Township. Let's be clear about what is and isn't on the table. Some time ago, the Board of Commissioners moved from an airport commission to an airport authority. The airport authority has the ability the ability and the authority to expand the airport. What is on the table is whether Grand Traverse County underwrites or puts their full faith and credit behind the bonds in order to save the airport $375,000 in interest. That's what's on the table. As has been pointed out, $375,000 in interest amounts to 78 cents a round-trip ticket at the 2026 traffic level per the airport. In order to save the passengers that cost, the passengers less than half of whom are Grand Traverse County residents, the airport is asking the county to put at risk $71 million. They have claimed in boilerplate letters that there's no risk. That flies in the face of common sense. You know that any bond issue has risk. And more to the point, you don't have a good way to evaluate the risk. None of us in the county are experts on airport management. None of us have a good way to evaluate their assumptions. The second point is they have asserted that there's no cost. Again, that's not true. You have major projects ahead of you. You have not yet quantified the cost of those major projects. But in order to even squint and say maybe it doesn't have a cost, you have to put, according to your current package, you have to push out the correctional facility to 2030 bonding. I don't think that has zero cost, and you're incurring probably a definite increase in cost in bonding. The airport authority fought hard to become an authority and have independence. Well, since they have independence, they should do their own funding. And if $375,000 a year in interest is really a make or break thing for this project, then that should tell you that the risk is quite high. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment at this time? Going once, going twice, third time's a charm. Thank you, everyone. Moving right along. I lost my place. My apologies. Looking for an approval of the agenda as presented.
Chair?
Yes, ma'am. Commissioner Walters.
I think there are a lot of people here interested, in particular in the airport discussion, so I would make the suggestion or the motion that we move departmental item 9E, which is the request for full faith and credit from the NRAA, to the first item under departmental items.
Well, I'll entertain the motion, but I disagree. So is there a second? Right, so there she goes. Seeing that there is no second, we'll move along. Thank you, Commissioner Walters.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll support that.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Henschel. Can you guys hear me? I just don't feel like I'm being heard. Sorry. Motion by Commissioner Henschel and a second by Commissioner Spence to approve the agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you, everyone. Pardon me. Oh, let's see, what are we at? Consent calendar. Ms. Shealy, if you please.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with by one commission motion without discussion. Any member of the commission staff or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted, receive and file, or approval, is approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendar. A, number 1, expiring terms March 2026. 2, Board of Public Works September and October 2025 meeting minutes. 3, Northwest Regional Airport Authority September 2025 meeting minutes. 4, expenditure report. 5, Department of Health and Human Services Board October 2025 meeting minutes. 6, Department of Health and Human Services Pavilions October 2025 meeting minutes. B, approvals. 1, Jail Food Service Contract Amendment and Extension. 2, Axon Enterprise Contract Renewal. 3, Health Department Memorandum of Understanding between Grand Traverse County on behalf of the Grand Traverse County Health Department and Kingsley Area Schools. 4, Bold Planning 3-year contract renewal for continuity of operations plan hosting. 5, I3 ImageSoft on-base maintenance renewal. 6, Evidence Property Room Surplus. 7, Land Bank Authority Administrator Designee Appointment. 8, City Appointment to Economic Development Corporation. 9, Board and Committee Appointment Recommendations. 10, October 2025 Claims Approval. 11, Project Alpha as needed, Architectural and Engineering Services, Proposals, Recommendation, Engagement of Spicer Group.
Thank you. Would anybody like to have any of those items removed for discussion later on? Final lottery ticket later on. Thank you.
Move to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Support. All right, well, Commissioner Henschel has moved that we approve the consent calendar as presented with a second from Commissioner Nelson. Ms. Shealy, can I get a roll call vote on that, please?
Flynn?
Yes.
Walter?
Yes.
Spence?
Yes.
Henschel?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Andrews?
Yes.
Morris?
Yes.
McAllister?
Yes.
Seifert?
Yes. Moving on to 7A. That would be Project Alpha progress update. Sorry, Nate.
Where are we?
We're 7A.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Tom Zak and Mr. Poplinski are here to give you an update on Project Alpha. Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Jerry Tomzak with Cunningham Limp Construction. Each of you should have received the monthly progress report for November. Provide you with an update. Can you hear us?
Sorry, Jerry, do you have a presentation or no?
No.
Okay, thank you.
So
Thank you.
you should have, though, the progress agenda in the package, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So just high level, we're continuing to prepare the CD drawings, which are the construction documents for both the EOC and the COB buildings. Expected documents will be issued at the end of January of next year. For our October Board of Commissioners meeting, we concluded no green roofs for either one of those buildings. Commissioners asked for solar panel, what we call a deep dive evaluation. So I have further information to report on that. Other green initiatives, we also seek some help in ideas for water cisterns, rain gardens, and then obviously geothermal, which is already part of the budget. I did conduct a meeting with Jamie Vaughn from Keene. He's provided me with some expertise in the past on solar panels. So I had a meeting with them and a follow-up. Jamie was able to complete an evaluation. He did that deep dive for me. What we concluded from the evaluation, which is provided for on page 2 of my review, is an estimated cost range for the EOC building to provide for solar panels. We can get roughly 90 kilowatts, or it's 86 exactly, on the flat roof areas. The return on the investment would be 13.9 years. He did receive the rate charts from Cherryland Co-op, who's the provider of the power for those 2 buildings proposed. And their rates right now are very competitive. We did use those as part of the analysis. Assuming we can get a 30% tax credit, which we've asked Mr. Bott to review some documentation that was provided by Jamie Vaughn from Keene, we should be entitled to a 30% tax credit, assuming we comply with some of the noted items that Mr. Bott was kind enough to send us back, which is to complete a pre-filing registration with the IRS, fill out the required annual tax returns, incur the costs eligible for the equipment of the facility, file for the credit after the equipment or facility is in place, and then you have to use a prevailing wage for the construction. So I had reported in a previous month that the estimated solar panel was going to be for either one of those buildings anywhere between 400 to 450 for the EOC, and the COB was going to be about 600 plus. It's pleasant to say that those numbers came in actually about $200,000 less for both those buildings if we elect to move forward with solar panels. So if we didn't receive the tax credit, it would be a 24-year return on investment. With the tax credit, it's 13.9 years. Again, he looked at the cost, he looked at the energy consumption, what right now you're paying to Cherryland Co-op. Any questions at this point?
Commissioner Nelson.
When, and maybe you can answer this, would we know prior to making the decision on that tax credit? Is that an application process that we go through ahead of time, or would we not find out till after?
I could defer to Mr.
The
Bott.
short answer is the county does not file an annual tax return. We're not required to, so we have to go through a pre-registration process to basically work with the IRS to be able to file a 1090, a 990T. We should be able to do that. It's pretty standard stuff, but at this point in time, we're not pre-qualified or registered. I don't see any issues with doing that. It's just a process.
Thank you.
Commissioner Andrews.
Yeah, thank you. Given that, we are a municipality and that those tax credits might be more valuable to a third party, I understand that there's a potential that others have done private partnerships with private entities to basically pay for some of the cost of the installation of the solar panels, and in return sell back the power at the rate and get the tax credit. Is that something that would be available to Grand Traverse County, where there might be a private partner that's interested in taking that tax credit and supporting it?
I did not review or research that. I can't answer that question at this time. I look solely at our ability to apply for that credit.
Okay.
We are eligible for that credit.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
More questions at this time? Go ahead, Jerry.
Yep. Other items that were also for progress over the last month, we did meet with DTE. They have put me in touch with an engineer that can design for us a geogrid system that will help to offset the weights of the equipment, vehicles during construction and afterwards. So we're going through that analysis right now with that person. We've had an on-site meeting with Midwest Geothermal to do the test well. Of course, right now we can't cross over that DTE easement from the west due east. So we're going to come in from Manitou Drive, which is a private drive. We did request approval from the apartment complex that's adjacent. The maintenance engineer there did approve of us to cross. He wants to make sure that we afterwards grade that sand that's just beyond the asphalt end at the west side of Manitou Drive. So we'll conduct that. Anticipate we'll do that test well in the next couple of weeks. Other work, we asked Monument Engineering Group to look at the revised site plan to move the COB building 20 to 25 feet due west and to take the stormwater that was originally proposed as retention to put it underground. I think it was noted at the last meeting a sincere interest in wanting to do that. So based on that, they estimate to rework the site plan, their engineered drawings would be about $9,000. So we're asking for approval from the commissioners to spend $9,000 to update the civil drawings. And we did also receive an update for the radio tower. There was a request to move that from 85 to 110 feet. So Pyramid Network Services did provide for an updated budget that we'll make sure to include in the final round. And the well, we don't have to do a backup reserve well for the fire suppression. What we've concluded is in discussions with Rob Studervent and others, the building itself is going to be roughly 15,000 square foot for the EOC building. We're going to compartmentalize that, which means that you're reducing the amount of area under the building code that you would have to be concerned about in the event of a fire. We are still going to fire suppress that building, but we're not required to do anything more than that. Chris Como from the facilities group did talk to Brian Belcher from GT Metro Fire. He agreed with it. The county building department, Rob Studervent, also agreed with it. So the well will only be used for potable water in the event the public water isn't available during a catastrophe. We can also use that well for irrigation as noted in last month's review. Our intent is to use cisterns or rain gardens or a combination of both. We did reach out to Greenspire School. It was brought to our attention by John Chase that he used them on a park project, so I reached out to them. They're very much interested in helping design the rain gardens as part of this project, which I think is great. Get the students involved. I noted on a drawing that's in your package, those areas highlighted in green around the EOC building that could accommodate the rain gardens. And then there isn't much around the COB building, so we just concentrate on the areas of the EOC. And with that, upcoming work, we'll complete the CD drawings. We'll continue to have our bi-weekly meetings with Project Alpha building committee members. We'll finalize the civil engineering drawings. We want to submit those to Garfield Township. Mr. Bott was kind enough to reissue the check directly to Garfield so that we can have Gordy Frazier conduct their review of the public water and the storm, or the sewer. And we'll finalize the DTE easement. Answer any questions you might have.
Commissioner Nelson.
So back to the well. It seemed like there's not really need for the well. I think we kind of saw that last time. Hooking it up to potable for a backup was very expensive, if I remember correctly.
It won't be now that we don't need the reserve tank. We're looking at only $25,000 to $30,000 for the
25 to 30 is the total cost for
most,
that?
correct.
And being hooked up potable?
Yes.
Okay, so that changes that. All right. That's my question then. Thank you.
Bobby Peplinski, also with Cunningham Limp. Fern, I'm sorry, I know
no,
you
go
had a
ahead.
question there too, but coming out of our last meeting about a month ago, there was a couple things that we were going to dive into. There was kind of two open questions. One, what we were going to do with the well and the overall cost to get a decision on that, and then two, get more information on the solar panels and then make a decision on that. So the information and the work that Jerry was updating, reporting on, I think we now have the information to be able to make those decisions. Two good things came out of it. One was the confirmation on the solar panels that if the tax credit applies, then the return on investment is about what we were saying before, be about 12.9 years. If you don't have the tax credit, and this is part of the overall evaluation that you go through, even without the tax credit, does the county feel that there's value to putting in those solar panels that if they have a 25, 26-year shelf life to them, they will essentially pay for themselves over that time span. So whether or not there's a value to having those solar panels in place that will pay for themselves over the time. In my view, that's the worst case scenario. Best case scenario is essentially that you put those in, they pay for themselves, you get the return on investment of that 12.9. So that's really the decision on that side of things. The well, with what Jerry was chasing down on the side of do we have to have that well with a backup fire suppression, and the update he was providing there is essentially that we have a way that we don't have to use that as the backup fire suppression, which was really driving the high cost of utilizing that well. without the backup tank, without the fire pump, we can install this well to achieve the goals that were originally looked for, which was a backup for potable water, as well as offsetting your landscaping costs. So we can go put in that well for $25,000, $30,000 if we know our landscaping costs for irrigation is $3,500, I think was around what we were estimating previously. That's something that's going to pay for itself over 10 years, and you have the backup of that well for the potable water if public water is down. So that's really the high-level information of the backup of everything that Jerry was providing an update on. That's the high-level information I think needed to make the decision on those two open items.
Thank you, well said. Commissioner Spence?
Yeah, so thank you, Jerry and Bobby. And Bobby, you kind of led into what I was going to ask you about. Jerry, you had said that there was a $200,000 savings, or was the bid came, or the amount came in $200,000 less than what was expected. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep, we had a range for the solar panels on each of the buildings, and if you took the low range, it was about $1 million. Our budget came back with the use of data from Keene at about $800,000 for both.
Okay, and then I did reach out to Networks Northwest as I was getting ready for this meeting today. They have someone who works at Networks Northwest with the Michigan Infrastructure Office, which is part of the state of Michigan. They do have some elective pay tax credits that are available for renewable energy products like solar that would be available to our county. Her name is Stephanie, and her last name is Marchbanks, and she works for Networks Northwest. She's a community planner for their elective pay program. Can you reach out to her?
Absolutely.
And I have the information. I just would like to uncover any incentives that are available for renewable energy. I think that we need to set an example. And we're an emergency center, we're a 911 center up there, so I think what best way to prepare for an emergency than to have that kind of backup.
Not a problem. Thank you, Fern.
Any more comments or questions? Commissioner Andrews?
Yeah, given the information that's come back to us today with the ROI on solar being what it is, worst case scenario is the panels pay for themselves. Best case scenario is we make money on them, basically, in terms of offsetting future utility bills. I tend to think that given technology advances, the shelf life of panels that you put in this place is going to be a lot longer than 25 years. And even at that point, you're looking at a degradation. You're not looking at a complete, useless asset. So hopefully that, while the numbers will shrink, they're still there, even at the service life. So to me, that is a no-brainer investment to take. Basically, we're converting a forest into a parking lot, and offsetting some of that impact with solar panels seems like a good move, particularly given later in the packet we've got a community survey that shows the most important issue is our natural environment. So that seems in this community based on the survey results. So I'm going to make the motion that we proceed with solar panels on both the EOC and the COB.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Andrews and a second by Commissioner Walter that we proceed with the solar. I would like to offer a friendly amendment that we also approve the increase of $9,000 and we also build a well. Would you accept that as a friendly amendment?
I most certainly would. Yeah.
Fantastic. Discussion, anybody?
You had to get my vote, didn't you? I want that well.
Darn right, buddy. You're darn right. So, seeing that we have no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your work, and I know we're difficult to work with, and you did a fantastic job.
Thank you, and no, you're not difficult to work with.
Well, it's very nice of you to say that.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to 7B, the Health Department public hearing.
Yes. Good morning, Commissioners. Our Health Officer, Mr. Leahy, is here to talk to you about a very lengthy ordinance number 3. As you recall, he briefed you previously on a new state legislation that basically covers our ordinance number 3, and we would like to consider the repeal of that, and he is here for a public hearing.
I believe I have to formally declare this as a public hearing, so I'm going to do so at 9:44. I also asked if anybody had a public comment to wait till this time. When Mr. Leahy is done with his presentation, that will be the time for public comment.
Good morning, Board. I did include a presentation in the packet, more so informational. I might just kind of deliver that. I don't know if we can pull it up or not here, but I don't think we need it really. Procedural in nature here with the public hearing. We put it on an agenda previously to request approval to begin this process. Prior to 2000, we as the county adopted an ordinance that regulated body art. So we were taking effect on sanitary conditions, making sure we were properly utilizing the equipment in those spaces as it pertains to public health concerns. In 2010, why we did that was because there was no regulation in the county over that work. In 2010, the state legislature, through MDHHS, put together statewide regulation around the regulation of body art in counties across the state. Our ordinance was retained at that time. In April of 2025, the state legislature rolled out and effectuated new regulation on the administration of body art, and that new regulation is more restrictive than our Grand Traverse County Ordinance number 3. So as of September 11th, 2025, Ordinance number 3 within the county is no longer enforceable, and the Health Department has began to operate under the new rules set forth by the state legislature. So procedurally, we reviewed with legal what steps we can take here. A couple options were amending the existing ordinance to defer back to state legislature. It created a confusing process. So as we reviewed options, repealing ordinance seemed like the cleanest way to do it. That was most straightforward to those operating in the business as well as those in our community who are seeking services at those places. In order to repeal an ordinance, we are in the procedural process here. So a public hearing is hosted here as the chair has commenced just now. We as the Health Department are in the room to listen to comments, concerns, or suggestions around that. And we plan to come back at the next regular session on the 17th of December to propose a potential repealing of the ordinance.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there no questions, I'm guessing? You have a question?
Yeah, but before Mr. Leahy leaves, high level, can you help us understand what's going to be different?
There's a couple technicalities in the language around numbing agents and how frequently the equipment needs to be cleaned. My understanding is there's a new requirement around how some of the equipment is cleaned. It's a little bit more of a all-encompassing approach now. So that's where it's more restrictive than how we were currently inspecting these facilities.
So just to clarify, there was always a permitting requirement, there was always an inspection requirement, the frequency, the standards haven't changed. It's a technical change.
Yep.
Thank you.
Commissioner Morris, you had your hand up, maybe?
No, not
Just
really.
that fly?
I'm just thinking about my next tattoo is all. No, as far as a numbing agent, if I understand it, they just can't dispense that at the tattoo place. You got to get that from your doctor.
My understanding is the same.
Okay.
All right. Any more questions? I promised public comment, and we'll go into the public comment portion. Anybody like to comment on this?
Thank you.
Seeing this is a public hearing. Thank you, Director Leahy.
You got the two shortest tattoo artists in Traverse City. to come up and comment. First of all, thank you very much for hearing everything today. This is my
Please-
first.
please
Sorry,
identify
Carolyn
yourself.
Greeman, 7th
Thank you.
Street. Sorry. Do you need my address number?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm a tattoo artist over on Union Street. Have been tattooing for 5 years now. Just to clarify, Morris had asked if where you can get numbing agents. I think it's important to say that you don't get it from your doctor. You can, but they're not going to give you something. Technically, from a doctor standpoint, they're not going to prescribe something for a tattoo. You can get it over the counter. But I, for one, am in support of doing stronger practices and would support the county in voting to approve this. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ren Petit. I tattoo out of the hotel lobby tattoo. I live in Peninsula Township. I've been tattooing for 8 years in this county, 10 years total. And I think that the numbing agent rule that went in effect, I believe it's more of a federal thing as well. A lot of other states are regulating the use of numbing creams topically when tattooing. I think that the regulations should be stronger when used with permanent makeup tattooing. That is a necessity, I believe, with numbing creams. They're doing a lot of delicate work in the face and other regions of the body that don't take very kindly to needles. So numbing creams used with permanent makeup, I think, is appropriate, but it needs to be regulated in a very strict manner. And the use of numbing creams in body art tattooing, I don't see a necessity for. I am a very light-handed artist, and I think techniques can be used to help negate the use of numbing cream. And numbing creams in tattooing, as far as I've seen and know other people in the industry over the years, numbing cream, when used multiple times during a session, can be very bad, not only for the skin, but for the healing process, and it can cause lifelong damage. So I think the rules and regulations when regarding numbing creams should be moved forward and looked at in a much stricter way, because it is a medical procedure, and we should be held accountable when administering those types of things, and rules are good when things like that are introduced into our body and our bloodstream. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Once, twice, third time's a charm. Well, I'm going to close the public hearing at 9:52. All right, we're going to move right along. Thank you, Director Lane. You ready? All right, so we're going to go on to, let's see here, 7C, Community Coordination Development Planning Discussion. Mr. Alger, Mr. Cameron?
Yes, so you're aware that Grand Traverse County has completed its third National Research Center National Community Survey. We have started that back in 2020 and completed this most recent survey in 2025. Maxwell Cameron, our Community Development Coordinator, is here to present the findings of that and to have some discussion surrounding the results.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Maxwell Cameron, Community Development Coordinator for Grand Traverse County. Wanted to spend some time this morning going over the results from our National Community Survey and talk about the possibility of community development and planning services on the county level. And in your packet, there was a presentation. We don't need to necessarily show it, but it's for illustrative purposes.
Maxwell, is it loaded on the computer there or no?
Are you talking about the strategic plan, Maxwell?
There's 3 slides, I think, 4, 5 slides.
There should be about 8
10
slides.
It's pages through page 9 in the packet.
It says Chambers. I'm not sure the login.
Well, don't tell everybody. It's messing around with stuff.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So when we're talking about potentially expanding community development or planning services on the county level, a good starting point is where does this fit within the plans that the county has already developed? And so looking at the 2024 through 2027 strategic plan, planning and community development really touch on goals 1, 3, and 4 of our strategic plan. And, you know, we could go into the specific objectives under a lot of these overarching goals, and I could definitely make the argument that, you know, as it relates to strategy number 1, planning is important in terms of managing our resources. We already are taking the approach of using data in projects like our zoning atlas to help our community better plan and prepare for future growth. And certainly planning and community development is a way for us to share information and coordinate better with our community. It also meets community needs. So that's our 4th strategic objective. And, you know, protecting our environment and understanding that the county plays a role in helping to support regional growth falls into this objective as well. The other pillar of information that we have in terms of community needs is what Mr. Alger mentioned, which is our National Community Survey. And earlier this year, we received the results from that survey. This is the 3rd time that we have undertaken the NCS. I would encourage everyone, and one thing that we know from the survey results is that folks in our community watch our public meetings. So I'm going to put a plug out there to say that everyone that is watching this meeting should go to our website, Grand Traverse County's website, under Community Engagement, and get a copy of the full livability report, not only for 2025, but you can see our previous reports in there as well. This year, our survey went out to 3,000 households. We received 459 responses, so that's a 16% response rate. And included in the packet also is the full livability report. So we can go through some of those specific measures in more detail, but overall, the NCS looks at 10 measures of livability in our community. I think the great news for us is that overall, the community rates us very high in overall quality of life. And again, on the top line numbers for all of those measures of livability, Grand Traverse is a place that people find a high quality of life. We're supporting residents in a number of areas, whether it be education, health. This is a great place to live. One of the interesting data points that is included in the livability report, it's on page 10, is our gap analysis. And we thought this information was very interesting. As Commissioner Andrews pointed out earlier in the meeting, natural environment is one of those quality measures that's rated very high. What this report shows us is, based upon those measures, how much our residents feel a measure of livability is important versus its current quality or the current state of that specific measure. So, for example, going back to natural environment, this is an important measure of livability for our community. Our community also rates our natural environment very high. Where we see major gaps between the quality and importance is areas that I would argue that community development and planning could play an important role. 3 of those I've highlighted here with respect to economy, community design, and mobility. And so those are some of the areas that our community does feel that are very important improving overall quality of life, but perhaps the current quality is not there. I wanted to highlight some information specific to community design, and that starts on page 18. So when we ask questions about is our community planning for future growth from a residential or commercial perspective, we can see that the results have not improved over time. We see that also in the two right columns, you'll see lower, similar, etc. Those are versus benchmark communities, either those who participate in the survey or our custom benchmark, which is communities that are similar to our community that we're measuring our results against. And so in both of those instances, when it comes to residential growth, our community rated lower than either of the benchmarks presented. And then when it came to commercial growth, we also received either similar or lower, but those numbers are on the lower end of the spectrum in terms of where we see change over time as well, even within the responses that we've received from previous iterations of the survey. You know, housing is one of those issues that is really important to our community. It's top of mind. And so I did want to spend some time sharing some information about what we learned about housing in our community. In terms of identifying there being a housing shortage, 86% of respondents said there's too little housing for younger residents, and 77% of respondents called out there being too few single-family homes in our community. What's really surprising and not surprising at the same time is that the measure of affordability was very concerning. Only 7% of residents rated the availability of affordable housing in our community as excellent or good. And in our community, in the community design portion of the report as well, you'll see that the variety of housing options was also rated fairly low. One of our custom questions related to housing was, should the county utilize tax incentives to support specific types of housing for seniors, workforce, etc.? And we did receive responses from our community that said 69% of those surveyed were either agreed or strongly agreed that the county should be utilizing those incentives to support housing for those populations. And then also the provision of affordable housing was rated essential or very important by 83% of respondents. So housing is obviously one of the roles that potentially community development or planning services could play a major part in the work that we do at the county level, and I did want to highlight some of the information that we learned about housing in our community. So if we were to talk about community development or expanding the role of planning on the county level, this is just a high level step-by-step that we would want to follow. And we're also cognizant of the fact that we're in budget season. We're trying to prepare for next year. So this discussion today is very important to have a better understanding of where we potentially may want to go. Following the feedback that we received, and perhaps we'll have the chance to share with you some more information at a future meeting, but we would suggest perhaps considering a request for some FTEs in the fiscal year 2026 budget. In addition to that, we would want to look at where community development could potentially add value in our community and what specific services and tasks that we would undertake. And so we would want a period of time to do that analysis. And we have asked through the marijuana funds, and it's a request through our EDC to support hiring a consultant to provide some analysis and suggestions as it relates to what community development could look like on the county level. And then moving forward into next year, developing our planning goals and staffing up. So that would be our, again, high-level overview timeline of where we potentially might be able to go. That's all that I had to share. Love to talk a little bit more about the NCS or any other questions that you have. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Cameron. Any questions for Mr. Cameron this time?
Nice report, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So, Commissioner Walter, please.
It's not a question necessarily for him, but discussion. So thank you for bringing this. I think when the county got rid of our planning department,
2018.
2017, we have seen the repercussions of that, and I hear about it all the time in different ways. People, I think, are feeling and communicated quite a bit that there is no plan, right? There's kind of willy-nilly things happening across the county, and they're not coordinated. And we're really feeling that, I think, with infrastructure needs, with growth, with traffic, with lack of enough affordable housing. Even the airport discussion ties into it. We don't have a regional plan for managing sustainable growth. And so I'm very much in favor of seeing more information about the funding requests for the planning staff. I don't know from this what those numbers look like and what more of a vision would be, but I would encourage that to come back ASAP. I'm assuming you probably have some more of that. I don't know if we need a motion to direct administration to do that. I know we're up against the wall with the budget, but I'm sure some of these discussions have been taking place, so there's more information maybe than we have here, or do you want to share more about?
We have had conversations about what that cost could be and intend to have that discussion with you on December 10th at the meeting specific to the budget. Again, it's not in currently. It is not in the 2026 budget, and we would just have to identify what the costs were and how we would pay for that and adjust the budget accordingly. But we know there's interest on behalf of some of the commissioners to have this, so we wanted to make sure that we got it to you ahead of next week's meeting, and we would have those costs associated with, for that meeting.
Okay, so at our study session, we'll have more specifics and be.
It's not a study session, it's a regular meeting, a special meeting, excuse me.
Okay.
Are you finished? I'm sorry, everybody's waving their hand behind you.
Sure, I just wasn't sure if.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Spence. go
Yeah,
ahead.
same thing, a comment, and thank you, Cameron. You did a great job of presenting the results from the National Community Survey and how it ties into our county. And having just recently graduated from Michigan State University's program in urban and regional planning and spending 2 years researching, studying why county planning is important and planning is important overall. What a county planning department would do is it would coordinate between our townships, our villages, our cities, and our other government agencies with their plans and increase public involvement, look at this more regionally, and provide services that some of our departments are overwhelmed with. So the way I look at it is you've got a symphony, you've got a horn section, you've got
Good point.
percussion section, and planning, county planning would pull different functioning departments together as one whole, just like a conductor brings different sections together in a symphony. That's the only example I can think of, but I think that's my analysis. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
That's a great observation, yeah.
Commissioner Nelson?
Thank you. I don't know what instrument you want to play, Maxwell, but I'm thinking the drums. So that is a good analogy, and I want to talk about like the planning department. Maxwell's title is a community development coordinator, and I think that's an important. We don't want another layer of government. One of the reasons that we got rid of the county planning is it was just another layer of regulation that any project had to go through to get approved, and we all know there's plenty of layers of that, and the zoning is done at the township unless they give that up and turn it over to the county or turn it over to another entity. But it is good having Maxwell. I see him out in the field quote unquote a lot when I'm at my townships. He's out and about, and he's around, and he's talking to people and bringing the developers with the township people and getting to know all them. I think he's done an excellent job, and I think that's what we want from our coordination department. Is not, we don't want another layer of bureaucracy that's going to prevent projects from getting through and slow them down. We want an assist, ombudsman type of attitude. So, and I know Maxwell has that, and that's the intent of why we set this up. So, just want to clarify that.
Can I just respond? So there's a lot more to planning than just zoning, and the Zoning Enabling Act of Michigan keeps zoning to townships. We could never eliminate the township's ability to set zoning. And I think maybe that's the misconception that happened when our county zoning department was dissolved in 2017 or 2018, was this misconception that townships could take care of zoning, and that's what planning was about. It's so much more than that, like I tried to summarize earlier. So I appreciate your feedback, but
I don't disagree with you.
Okay, thank you.
I was agreeing with you. If I didn't.
Great.
Commissioner Henschel?
Thank you. Actually, there is a model in Michigan where counties do zoning. Emmett County does that for their townships, but the townships would have to agree to that, and I don't see that as happening anytime soon here. But I think part of the issue with this idea of a county planning department, now most people, if you talk to in this area, they probably moved here, a lot of them from out of state, and most other states don't have townships. So to learn that your county doesn't have planning, it seems like, oh, there's no planning in this county. Well, yeah, there is. There's planning, there is zoning, it's at the township level, statutory in Michigan. The townships have the local control there. So when the county had a planning department, it really had almost no statutory obligations or authority. And I think that's really why it was done away with, because it gave the impression that the county had to approve things, approve plans, give permits. The county planning didn't. What it did was coordinate. And John Syke was the head of it at the time, a great planner, and in that realm. He now works for the largest township in our county, Garfield Township. A great guy. He works with the airport on airport zoning. He's on the boards over at the airport and the committees that set zoning, and coordinating with other townships. I think part of our problem, and our board members are probably thinking a lot of the same things, but using different words to describe them. I don't think we need something called a county planning department, but we do need coordination. We do need to be the leader in their community, and that's why Maxwell was brought on board, a couple of years ago now. And I see him at all the township events. He's out there, he's networking with them. He has developed rapport and influence. But at the end of the day, we really can't enforce an overall planning. We can be a coordinator. We can bring consensus and encourage that. We can help set goals for the region. But at the end of the day, the townships have to be on board. So I just want to be careful that, especially with the public, a lot of people coming from other states, other areas where counties control things. The county does not control planning or zoning. But we're happy to be a leader, and we want to be at the table, part of the conversation.
Somebody else, Commissioner Morris?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the number of responses that we received. It seems dismally low. Now, reality-based, I've been in sales most of my life in one form or another, and People who are happy generally don't respond by telling you they're happy. They just kind of go along, and people who are not happy with something or oppose something will be the first ones in line to tell you that. But it's like, is there realistically a way that we can encourage more community engagement?
That is something we have been trying to do over the last couple of years, actually, and we've reached out to NMC and the TCAPS to try to get that 18 to 34 age demographic to respond to these surveys. They would think that age group was 7% of respondents.
Busy working multiple jobs to live here.
Yeah, well, good point. Maybe we're looking to how we do that, and obviously reaching out to younger age groups is very important to us. They're the ones that are being affected by the housing being so expensive and not being able to live here. So we're open to suggestions, and that's one of the things that we mentioned on a little video yesterday is if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, reach out and let's get that age 18 to 34 represented.
And I also would mention that in working with Polco, the provider of the NCS, they said our response rate of 16% was fairly high for our community and sample size. Where we are low is we have a non-scientific online portion of the survey that goes out. Anybody in the county can take it. It's not selected in the same way. And relative to other communities, we get somewhat of a low response to that. And so we've asked them to connect us with other communities in Michigan that have found more success with their community survey, namely Allegan County, where they get well over 1,000 responses on their online portion. Now their scientific response rate is lower than ours. So that's something that we'll be able to hopefully do a better job at getting the word out and getting more participation in the online survey in future years.
Commissioner Andrews.
Yeah, thank you. I've just got a couple of comments. One related to Commissioner Henschel's point. I think there is a terminology gap, and I agree that coordination or collaboration or ensuring regional approaches where that makes sense is I think ultimately what we're talking about. But I will push back just a little bit on the idea that the county doesn't have a zoning role, because while we don't set zoning ordinances and enforce them, state law does require every township and municipality to have a master plan that they're required to update every 5 years, and those master plans do have to go to the county for approval. And so even in counties that have that don't do zoning like ours, they have somebody or a body that's the designated planning overseer. I do know that there have been examples in Grand Traverse's history where that body was able to check the township, where they rejected a proposed zoning amendment because it was inconsistent with the township's own plans and its own, goals. So it is a real function, and it is something that benefits from a regional perspective that I think is arguably missing. But obviously we've survived without it for a few years, and I'm sure we can make do. But I understand what we're being presented with is a budget request to go in the next budget for 2026 of 2 FTEs. But what it looks like, what it's called, I think is up for discussion. I believe that the presentation is that we will figure it out, knowing that the budget is there, but what we call those people, or who answers to who, how they fit into the org chart, is still at our discretion, right? And we may not fill those positions, we may decide something else, but at least the idea is that we at least give the budget the green light to include those. And I want to add one piece. I think the fact that everyone sees Maxwell at everything, I jokingly call him the meeting attender because he attends every meeting just about that I ever go to, ad hocs and otherwise. I think the reason we're seeing Maxwell here today is because he needs help. The demand outpaces the ability to provide it. And so I'm going to support that we move forward with the recommendation in the budget and figure out what it looks like and what it should be called and provide that service to our community. And my last point is simply that when John Syke was here, he had a site plan for facilities, right? Like he worked out, working with staff, what are the needs, what are our projected future looks like, and came up with some site plan plans. We had master plans for the county. They had visions. The board weighed in on them. Where do we think the growth is happening? And what does that mean for us as a county and the services that we provide physically? Where should we be located? And I think we have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in the last 3 years trying to fill those gaps between Tower Pinkster. I think we're going to see it here and later on today's agenda to help us figure out planning. And I think we should have some internal capacity on that front. It doesn't mean we're not going to outsource anything, but I think it will help us do a more efficient job for taxpayers when it comes to collaboration and coordination and planning. So thank you.
All right, so barring any more comments or questions for Mr. Cameron, I think you guys, it's pretty clear, the administration, we're looking for some numbers next week. I think we're all at one point or another in our minds in support of that project. I agree with Commissioner Henschel and all you commissioners at one point or another. The name is important, but it's not as important as the mission. You know, we did talk about development in this county. It's around 20 cents a dollar it costs in bureaucracy to do a development project in this county. That should be the job of the development coordinator to help mitigate that. Say, call Maxwell and say, hey, I need to do this, I need to do that, where do I go? It's ridiculous. You talk about affordable housing, that's the first place you stop, is government overreach and over costs. So we're gonna, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna go to, I wanna do a couple more agenda items and then we're gonna do our much needed break. So bear with me, folks. 9A, recommendation for a 457B deferred compensation plan employer match.
Commissioners, you have established a salary retention ad hoc committee. That committee has met several times and listened to various options that they could consider. HR Director Donna Kinsey is here to present to you one of the options that they landed on that they would like to have the entire board consider.
Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, everybody. I'm Donna Kinsey. I am the Human Resources Director for Grand Traverse County. So this team met, I'm going to call it a team, and we discussed several options, and we came back at them several different times in different ways. What we finally thought was the best option for our employees was to offer them, we do offer a 457, but Grand Traverse County doesn't offer a match towards that 457. We are suggesting or recommending that employees would get up to $1,000 match if they were in a 457. So, for example, if somebody opened a 457 and only put $400 in, they would only get the $400 match. Currently, we have 143 employees enrolled in our 457, which is either through Nationwide or Mission Square. So we're hoping that this would encourage our employees to open some more accounts of 457 so that they would take advantage of this additional money that they would get for retirement. The one thing I would recommend on the policy, if we do move forward, is that it's prorated based on our part-time employees. Currently, we have 26 part-time employees, and we actually prorate everything out. So if you're a part-time employee and work for Grand Traverse County, your benefits are prorated, your vacation time is prorated. Anything that has to do with a benefit, we do prorate it based on the amount of hours that you work. So I would try to remain that consistent. I just wanted to put that in there because in the write-up that wasn't, and I'm going to talk to Mr. Bott about that too, because we actually talked about that offline and thought that would be a great suggestion. So that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Director Kinsey?
If I could add a little bit of context.
Please, absolutely.
So the employer offers a 401A.
401, yeah.
401A that, depending on which contract you are in and how long you have been here, that percentage contribution is between 3 and 9%. it goes up to 12%, and you cannot necessarily add to that 401A after you've made an election to take the 401A. So this is an opportunity if an employee wants to make their retirement life put in a better position and they can afford it, they can open a 457, and it does the same thing essentially as a 401A. So we think it's a great idea. It focuses on retention and attraction, and it's something that I think that if our employees were able to do so, they would welcome the opportunity.
As Commissioner Hensel, go ahead.
I was just going to make a motion to approve as presented.
Support. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Hensel, support by Commissioner Nelson. Discussion, Commissioner Walter?
Yeah, I think generally this is a great idea too. Can you tell us, you mentioned the 150 some who are currently?
Currently, right now, it's 143 employees have a 457 account with Grand Traverse County. We have upwards of close to 500 employees, so we feel that this would be a great way to get somebody who doesn't have that 457 account to say, wow, if I even can afford $400 next year, then I'm going to get another $400 match. The thing with our MERS account that we have, our 401 account, is if you did not sign it up on day one for that account, you cannot go back in and sign it up 3 years later and decide that, okay, now I want to join that account, the MERS account. So this is a great way for those employees that didn't sign up on day one to have them have some kind of fund going into a retirement that Grand Traverse County put that money in for them.
So what kind of budget implications? I mean, we don't really know because we don't know how many. So what is the kind of max that we're looking at that would be? I mean, I don't see that anywhere in here. It's just a general.
So if every employee availed themselves of the 457, that would be $500,000.
Per year.
All right, so I have a question for Mr. Nordford. Matt, can you hear me?
Yes, Chair.
So motion was made that we do a dollar-for-dollar match up to $1,000 annually per employee effective January 1st, 2026. So with that, if Director Kinsey suggested, as well as I'm guessing Director Bott, that we prorate it for part-time employees, does the current language in the motion cover them to do that?
I think you could include that as an amendment, making clear that that authorization is there. To the extent we don't have language in collective bargaining agreements about this, I just want to also mention we will need to do letters of amendment with the collective bargaining units to allow them to participate in this as well.
Thank you.
Can you clarify what you mean by prorating it for part-time employees?
Well, so again, if we prorate their benefits, so if somebody only works 20 hours a week, because of the fact that they're not working full-time, they would pay a little bit more towards their benefits at Grand Traverse County. So it would be the same as, we would look at it and decide prorating is if you only work 20 hours a week, maybe we wouldn't give them the $1,000 match, maybe they would get $800 match, up to an $800 match, depending on the amount of hours that they work. Again, every other benefit that we do it that way.
So the recommendation
So I was trying to remain consistent.
doesn't differentiate in the recommendation.
It does not.
It just says employee.
So
It does,
here's
you're
a-
absolutely right.
So the motion on the floor, if passed, would go to every employee if they worked 1 hour a week.
That's correct. So here's my comment on that. So, and while I agree with the prorating of other benefits, I'd like, if you're working for the county, I mean, we're only taught, and I don't mean to minimize how much money this is. $500,000 is, a nice spot in Florida for me. So, but I believe personally, as we sit here, I like the motion as it sits, because if you work for the county, it's because the purpose of this was, we're not going to do longevity. We all know how that works. Can be abused. We're like, hey, we're talking about doing a workplace, culture that's like, we appreciate what you do for serving our residents and our constituents. And it's like, maybe you can only work 20 hours a week, but we're still going to give you the benefit of this longevity, or I don't want to say it's a reward, but this opportunity to have skin in the game to stay here as an employee with the county.
Retention.
I think the And I agree, I sat on that committee with Commissioner Flynn and Seifert, and I think one of the things we wanted was to encourage people to put money away, even if they are, part-time because they have family obligations or other limitations. It was intentionally regressive to be able to, it's not a percentage of your income that benefits the higher earners proportionately, they just get more income, or more match. This was intended to encourage people to want to work here. It's a benefit to keep people here. And when we count how many employees we have, we don't count I don't believe we count our part-time employees as a half a person. We count them as one of our employees, when my understanding is we don't add up the number of partial FTEs to end up with a combined number. So when we say 500,000, that assumes somebody who works 20 hours a week, at the corrections department assisting with billing is an employee. And we, I think, intended to give them the opportunity to put aside $1,000 a year. That's not a lot of money, and match it with a match from the county. So I don't support prorating.
Do we have any employees who work less than 20 hours a week?
We have,
I mean, less than 20, because you had said 1 hour a week, and I thought.
we actually have an employee that works, yes, 8 hours a week.
8 hours a week.
One.
Mr. Walter.
I don't see in here, and forgive me for not knowing all the particulars of the plan, but how many years until you can reap the benefits of that, basically? Is there a...
You would qualify from day one.
No, but I mean, there's usually a, what's that word?
Vesting. Oh, a vesting.
Vesting,
There
thank
would
you.
not be with
Yes,
this.
there's no vesting with that 457. If they put in $1,000 and we match it with that $1,000, that's their money. So there is no vesting in the 457. There is in our 401 A accounts
In the
through
MERS.
MERS, right?
Yeah.
And that's 6 years to be fully vested at 100%.
Okay. Did we do any analysis of how this might take away from MERS and the numbers related to that, which are kind of better if we have more? And
It would never take away from MERS, because if every employee is automatically enrolled in MERS, we would then, it's just for them to decide if they wanted to roll in the MERS, because then we would give them, if you enroll in MERS, we automatically put in 3%. If you put in 3%, then Grand Traverse County gives you another 3%, which is wonderful. But there are employees that have started at Grand Traverse County that didn't take advantage of that. So by offering this 457 and that up to $1,000, it would allow those employees to actually have, I think it would encourage, me personally, would encourage those employees to say, wow, I'm going to get $1,000. I need to enroll in this so that I am now putting away for my retirement.
I just wondered if it would pull from the investments people are making into MERS, is what I mean. I don't, and have we done any analysis of that?
No.
We have not
No,
done that analysis.
it would not work that way. Whatever they're currently set up to do it through payroll with MERS for the 401A will not change.
Couldn't they change it
Obviously,
if they wanted to?
No. No, it's
So
an
if you
irrevocable.
set it up at 3%, it always stays
It's an
that way?
irrevocable election at the time they hire in. Would it mean that they have less net pay in their paycheck? Yes, if they're going to contribute to the 457. However, there are tax advantages to do that too, because a 457 contribution reduces the amount that has federal and state tax withheld on it. So, it will have an impact on their net pay. Going back to the proration, Donna and I did think it should be prorated, but we certainly understand your position if that's what you intend to do. The theory there would be that if an employee is not working full-time, they still have to basically come up with an amount out of their current pay to cover whatever we're going to match. So, but we did feel it should be prorated. But that's your decision. Thank you.
I'd like Bonnie's opinion, if it's all right.
What's Bonnie's opinion?
Not
Ms.
an
Shealy?
opinion, just a question. Does that include elected officials?
I would say yes.
Should.
I mean, we're in 457s
Yeah.
now, so.
It would,
Should.
you're an employee.
Yep. We appreciate you, County Clerk Shealy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And the 457's a good thing to get in. I can't believe people aren't in it.
I concur, that's why we talked about this.
Yeah.
So if there's no more further discussion, we have a motion on the floor. Is anyone going to make a friendly amendment to that motion?
Going to remove the clerk?
I don't know if that qualifies as a friendly motion, but seeing that there is no friendly amendment made, the motion on the floor is approved as presented by Commissioner Hanschel, support Commissioner Nelson. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you,
Director
guys.
Kinsey. Director Bott, that's great work.
Wonderful for our employees. Thank you.
Can I ask a quick follow-up logistics question? Because I know the open enrollment is happening right now. Is this going to somehow roll into that and go into effect in January?
He's gone.
She's hiding in the back.
I would think that
No.
we would have to add that the 457 is already an option within our open enrollment. So that exists currently, so it would just be a matter of that employee activating that 457 through their open enrollment period, which is between now and
Well, I just
December.
wonder, it's been open for a while,
Not
so.
really an option now,
Yeah,
is it?
so
In regards to
December 1st through
benefits?
the 14th.
Can we roll this out by 26?
We are already, Mr. Elger knows something about me. I have this thing that if somebody tells me to do something, or it's maybe something we may do, I'm already in the process of rolling it out or figuring out how to do it, even though it's not approved. So I've already had meetings with Mission Square and with Nationwide on doing this. So we can probably get it rolled out very close to January 1st.
Okay, so my question
yeah.
was, it's open enrollment period right now, so it's not going to be included in that.
It's not included in that because you can go in at any time you want to sign up for a 457. So it doesn't have to be January 1. It doesn't. You could go in now and sign up, and it would start in December. You could sign up in February and start it in February. It has nothing to do with open enrollment.
Okay.
It won't be on workday by noon today.
You could seriously, if you went in right now, you could get it into your next,
Just
not
giving
this
you a hard
Friday's
time.
paycheck, but we could get it by the end of the
Now you're going to have it
this
today.
month if you wanted to. If you wanted to
Now
open a
she's gonna
457.
No, it's
Remember.
not in this year's budget, so.
No,
we
so
still
but we
haven't
wouldn't match
approved
it this year. But you could still sign up for one and take money out right now.
Right, but I'm saying, yes,
Uh-huh,
okay.
yeah.
January makes more sense.
Okay,
Yes.
yes. Thanks.
Thank you. So we're going to do one more. I want to put this, people waiting today, on 9B, Community Development Block Grant Loan Program, Loan Extension Requests.
Commissioners, Laura Galbraith from Venture North is here to discuss a request for 2 extensions. And I'll let Laura finish. Brief you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Laura Galbraith with Venture North. Just a quick reminder, the Grand Traverse County CDBG loan program, we've been administering this for well over 10 years. The way that the program works is a business has to hire positions to be able to meet the national objectives. The 2 companies that I have here with me today, they have received loans for the Grand Traverse County CDBG Loan Fund, and they are in good standing. They're making payments. But just due to some unforeseen circumstances, they need an extension to be able to create the jobs, to be able to meet the national objective. They are requesting a 6-month extension, so this would be through May 30th of 2026. There is no negative consequences to the county. This is really truly just for them to be able to meet the requirements of the loan program and then be able to have this program then become defederalized and be able to continue to be available throughout the 10-county region after they've met those federal requirements.
Thank you. Any questions? Commissioner Andrews.
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and make the motion that we approve both the requested extensions as presented.
Support.
And then I'm going to ask a question.
Support.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Andrews to to approve both the loan extensions with support by Commissioner Morris. Discussion, Commissioner Andrews.
Thank you. Yeah, a question. I think you said they were both 6-month extensions, but on the paper, it looks like the Warbird extension is a 10-month, 11-month. It's through the end of September of 2026, just to make sure the paper trumps the comments.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes?
6 months is fine. I do have Matt Davis here, and he said 6 months is fine. Just a quick update, he does have 2 positions hired from Grand Traverse County. He only needs 5, so and they're in the
Fantastic.
process of hiring as we speak.
So my last comment that I'll make and then pass the floor, of course, is I appreciate that these are both in the process of hiring. It looks like Roaster Jack is almost there, half a person, just about to go over the edge to a full-time person, which is great. Warbird's track record isn't as great, but my support for this project, even though it moved out of the county, I think I support the fact that the model shifted in what I would consider a positive direction by going from retail positions to manufacturing positions. I think in the long run, that is important to our community. Those are jobs that we need available to our Grand Traverse residents, and it's for that reason that I support the extension. Those seem like better jobs in the long run. Thank you.
Commissioner Walter.
Yeah, how long, I mean, the first loan was initiated in 2023. And
Yes.
it took a long time to even get a part-time person. So how long do we keep extending it? It's almost 2026.
Sure.
And it sounds like there's a couple people in the works, but that's far from the required number too, so.
I do have Jack Davis here from Roaster Jack, and, he could give you some context on what's happened over the past few years, but the 6-month extension, we feel very confident that both companies will be able to meet the job creation requirement.
Okay, so you'll come back and just report back in 6 months?
Yeah, we would, or before, whenever they're able to meet that job requirement, we come back for a public hearing just to say the project is successful, and we move on.
Great.
Yeah.
We look forward to seeing you in the spring.
We do indeed. Any more comments, questions, concerns? We have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you for being here
Thank
today
you.
and your patience.
Thank you.
So we are going to take a 15-minute break-ish. See you back at 11 o'clock. There's only so many stalls in the bathroom, ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry. Moving over
I
toward
know, I was
here.
going to take a piece of it.
Encroaching.
I'm going to call this meeting back to order at 11:01. Thank you, everyone. To get right at it, we're going to go to 9C, Justice Facility Advisory Committee Facilitation Services Proposal. Forgive my tongue-tiedness.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, as directed by the Board of Commissioners, we did create the Executive Steering Committee for the Justice Facility discussion, and we are also directed to go out for proposals for a facilitator for the purposes of facilitating the conversation between the Justice Facility Advisory Committee and the Justice Facility Technical Committee, as well as any public input sessions that we were going to hold. The RFP did go out. It was due on November 3rd, and on November 12th, we interviewed three of the six that submitted proposals. You have all of those proposals within your packet for your review and discussion. We really did feel as a team that the three that we recommended for interviews were qualified, and they submitted the proposals sufficiently to be considered. We interviewed the three and narrowed that down to two. The committee then met with Chairman Seifert and Vice Chair Andrews as a group to have a secondary interview because they are part of that executive steering committee, and we boiled those down to two proposals that we would like you to have discussion about and consideration. That is Plant Moran Real Point and GFC. Chairman?
Thank you, Mr. Alger. So, as we move forward in this process, the Jail Executive Committee, we wanted to have, and you're going to see another RFP here shortly. We were looking for someone to facilitate the process, that was going to facilitate the process, that didn't have any experience or maybe have any desire to build a jail. We were looking for somebody that was very innocuous, like, I'm a good facilitator, I can facilitate anything, they have nothing to do with corrections. And so that's why we determined in this case that we were recommending GFC International, and you know, it's a little bit more on the front end. Once that company is done, they're done. They're not looking for another contract from us or whatever like that. And seeing that they have no expertise to bid out for the project management services, we kind of felt that was a no-brainer. So I'm going to make the motion that we approve the contract with GFC International.
Support.
Any discussion? Questions? All right, so I have a motion. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the people have been working on this. I think I'm going to just defer to you. I had some different thoughts, but I think you guys were there, you guys were on the ground, and I'm going to go with what you guys are recommending. I think just, I don't know why I would go against that.
Appreciate that. Thank you for the vote of confidence. So there's no more discussion. There's a motion on the floor by myself, second by Commissioner Andrews. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Thank you very much, everyone. Moving on to 9D.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just as the chairman stated, we also had a direction from the board to go out for RFP for project management services. We received 7 proposals. We, as a group, with the Deputy Administrator, Facilities Director, and Facilities Manager, Chris Como, Special Projects Coordinator, Jenny McKellar, Deputy City Manager, Deb Allen, and the City Facilities Director, Dave Wolfort. We met, reviewed those proposals. They are all within your packet for your consideration and discussion. And we initially narrowed those proposals to 3. We had interviews and narrowed those proposals to 2, that being Cunningham Limp and Plant Moran Real Point, for your consideration and discussion.
Commissioner Andrews.
Yeah, thank you. I participated alongside Commissioners Nelson and Spence in those interviews. They were, everyone was invited, and those were the people who were able to make it. I think there were a range of perspectives on the 2 that were being pushed forward as recommended, and I'm going to make the motion that we approve retaining Plant Moran Real Point as our consultant for the project management services component for the RFP.
I'll support.
And I'll just add that I think when my familiarity with the board and where we've been and what the concerns are going forward, there's a strong need for facilitated guidance to figure out where things go, how big they need to be, and what they need to look like. And I don't want to speak for anyone else, was really impressed with the way Plant Moran Real Point walked through a planning process, and they gave us some real examples that they had facilitated to figure out what are you trying to achieve with your facilities here, and what the future looks like and what the opportunities are. They had, I would call it almost a good visionary perspective on that, and I think that's something we're looking for this next phase, and they brought that to the table clearly and with real experience.
Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner Andrews, support by Commissioner Henschel. Any more discussion?
Just to reinforce what Commissioner Andrews said, what Plant Moran brought to the table was this confidence that they can help guide us through the location decision process of what's best for the county and city, and I thought that was like on the forefront of their presentation, and that was comforting and gave me confidence that they'll do a good job with that decision making.
Thank you. Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah, I attended, I wanted to listen. I wasn't a part of the committee. As the other commissioners there, we were there this is an important thing that we're moving forward. And the question I had at the end, we narrowed it down to two very, very good candidates. And there was an objective scoring sheet. I think they were 1 point apart, which really doesn't matter. You get those are very close. I think we'd be good with each, but I question why, and it's nothing against Plant Moran, but we have an existing relationship and we're having ongoing discussions and meetings with Cunningham Limp, and they have been doing an excellent job, and I wonder why we would then bring in another player. I understand, and this is nothing negative toward Plant Moran. I think they provide a good thing with it. But now we've got administration working with two different players, and when you're having regular meetings like that can be complicated. So when we came out of that, I thought that the committee, especially administration, and I'm not certainly not speaking for them, said that there was a benefit to having one consultant, one owner's rep working on the project. So that's my comment. I'm certainly not against Plant Moran, but I'm wondering if we're complicating this process when we shouldn't be. This is a big deal, what we're doing.
Commissioner Henschel.
Thank you. I appreciate Commissioner Nelson's comments. We also have a past relationship with Plant Moran, not the Real Point, but their financial services. They were instrumental in helping us get the pavilions back in the black. They were operating in the red for a while. Plant Moran was a key player that came in, and I'm happy with this recommendation of the committee in motion. Could have gone either way with Cunningham Limp or Plant Moran, but I think Plant Moran has a lot to offer. We did, when I was the chair in previous years, we did look at them quite a bit as a potential for the future, and I'm glad that the team now. I wasn't in those meetings. I didn't attend them. I just let you guys come to your own conclusions, and you came to the same one I did when I looked into them. So I think it's a good move. I also want to say thank you to everyone who applied, because as a small business owner, I have bid on things with government before, and it's an arduous process, and I don't want to discourage anyone from ever bidding in the future just because you don't get picked. Keep showing up, keep putting your best offer out there, and we appreciate all of the bidders.
To respond to, I agree with you, Commissioner Henschel, and I agree that existing relationships are good, Commissioner Nelson, but to respond to that, I got a couple of comments. One, checks and balances. When the jail executive committee got together, we wanted to make sure that we would have the opportunity for oversight or maybe somebody catching something that somebody didn't have. Not that that's necessarily the case, and there should be no shock that I'm very, very fond of Cunningham Limp. But I'm going to support the motion because as you build a team, and we're going to spend $200 million probably in the next 10 years, and that's not including the airport probably, that you want to have all the superstars you can on your team. And that's how I look at that. And this is an opportunity for exactly that. That we're like, hey, look what Grand Traverse County did. We're not, and I could talk on forever, but that's kind of where I'm at. We had the opportunity to expand our bench, our roster. Now we don't have one superstar. With the passing of this, now we have two superstars that are helping us towards the future. And I think that's something that we've been lacking, whatever the reason is. There's something, whether we're lacking it or not, it's something that we do need, in my opinion.
I don't disagree with what you said.
Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
We have two good candidates, and I'm
Right.
going to support it, but
Is there any more comments or questions?
I would just like to add some context. If you recall, as we came to this board with the concept of having this facilitation of moving forward, like helping us create this vision, it started out as a singular proposal and it kind of morphed into a three-phase proposal. So each of the vendors that submitted proposals for each phase of the project. So this is phase one. This is the creation of the vision. And I just wanted to recall, if you did not recall, I wanted to bring that to context. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's very important to do that, so. And if there's any more discussion? All right, we have a motion on the floor. Ms. Shealy, you ready?
Roll call vote?
No, I'm just going to say, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Thank you much, everyone. Congratulations. Thank you for your continued wonderful service. I love you guys. I really do. I can say that, right? I don't care.
They're not going away. Don't worry.
No, they're not.
Don't worry, you're not free of us.
That's for sure. So we're going to move on to 9E, near and dear to many's hearts. Commissioner, or Administrator Alger, you just got promoted, or demoted. If I call you Commissioner, it's a demotion. Let's be clear, it's a demotion.
No, sir. So you've seen this several times. Mr. Klein and his staff are here to discuss with you some of the questions that you had brought up in a previous meeting. Our counsel, Roger Sweats, is available. Our financial consultant, Stephen Burke, is available. Everybody, this board asked the airport some questions for clarification purposes from the last meeting. They also asked Stephen Burke and Roger some questions and asked for clarification. So we are here again today to have further discussion about the airport's request for full faith and credit for their bonding. And Mr. Burke and Mr. Sweats, Mr. Nordfjord, and I met, I think Monday, to have some discussions as well. So we are up to speed and ready to answer questions that you may have.
All right, so who has questions besides Commissioner Andrews? Oh, no. Commissioner Nelson.
I'm going to start. Let's get the motion on the table. I'm going to make a motion that we approve, pardon me, the resolution as written on page, 114 or whatever the packet, resolution of approving the full faith and credit to the airport revenue bonds.
I'll support.
I'm going to not recognize that at this time.
How does that happen?
Based on-
Happens because it takes 5 votes to undo that.
What?
Yep, you did it last October.
Do what?
Not recognizing the motion at this time. I want further discussion for this. I don't.
Well, I'm
I
not
think it's-
trying to cut off discussion by any means. I just thought, let's get a motion out there and then let's have discussion.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll let it
I'm
go.
not, I do not want to cut discussion by it anyway.
All right. Fair enough. You won me over.
Okay.
Anybody have some comments? I'm going to, Commissioner Spence?
Oh, I have a question about the annual savings if we were to back this full faith and credit bond for the airport. I've heard $375,000 a year. I've heard $500,000 a year of annual savings with us basically co-signing this financing for this terminal expansion. And we have 950 passengers going through Traverse City a year. So there's been a talk about passenger facility charges. Because basically, if everybody chipped in 50 cents, each ticketed passenger, it would cover that savings that you would get by having us back up this loan. And when I spoke to you, Mr. Klein, you said the passenger facility charge couldn't cover that. But then when I Googled it, it said that airlines can charge a passenger facility charge that can then be used for terminal improvements at airports. So I just want to know more about that. That savings that
please,
the
Mr.
airport
Klein.
authority is going to have if we co-sign on this loan.
Well, thank you for the question. Kevin Klein, CEO, Cherry Capital Airport. The question is about passenger facility charge. That is set by Congress at $4.50. And then it goes through an FAA determination process that each airline proposes and agrees with to use that money for terminal projects. PFCs are used for capital projects in general. So PFCs are pledged for this project already as part of the overall. So PFCs will be used to pay on the bonds. So we can't increase that any higher than the limit that it is because Congress federally mandates that.
So my math is approximately $1 per passenger, actually less than that. Would that $4.50 passenger facility charge then cover that difference?
No, it's already paying on the bonds. So what you would be asking is in addition to what's already out there. And we cannot federally, that's already federally set and capped, so we cannot do that.
Could there be higher rents to cover that difference?
That's where it would fall back, is be in the rent structure. And then the airlines in turn would put that into the rate structure. That is correct.
I'm just getting so many emails from residents of the county saying that we need to hold our money for these huge expenses, which you've heard a lot about today. This morning we've talked about the justice facility that I really feel strongly that we need to be able to finance. And did you say $200 million worth of county improvements that we need over the next 10 years? We could approximate it. That would probably be pretty accurate. So I just want to make sure that we're making good fiscally responsible decisions today. And I needed to know the answer to that question. So
Yeah,
thank you.
absolutely, and I hear that. So what is the difference of going with your credit rating and going with the airport seeking a credit rating? It's a $16.2 million difference over the 30 years of the bonds at $528,000 per year. Where the splitting of it was discussed is because of the issuing of two series, a Series 26 and a Series 27. So that's where the split discussion came about, and the different amounts of 300 versus 500. But the total is 16.2 million. So when asking for full faith and credit, what we're looking to do is save that 16.2 million by using the credit rating so that we can invest that into the terminal, keep the airline rates lower, so we're keeping them incentivized to be here in Traverse City so that they invest and continue to grow their business. As we talked a lot about today about investing in businesses, that's what this is, investing in those businesses and doing that for our county residents. I think that, when you look at full faith and credit, it's a tool. It's a great tool. It's a very helpful tool. We see that used with many different infrastructure projects, water, sewer being a primary one. And so that's what we're seeking, is that assistance to keep the project rates and charges beneficial for our community. And, when you look at star players, as Chair Seifert just said with the team, that's what we're looking for from you, is to be on our team, to partner together. That's what we've done with the authority and the government's transfers, continue that partnership and making this a community gym.
Thank you.
All right, I was taking notes. Any other comments, questions for Dr. Klein? Go right ahead, Commissioner Anderson.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for compiling the additional information since the last meeting. I think it's helpful and insightful. I think my question might be for Mr. Burke, and relating to the analysis that he provided It's on page 112 of the packet of 117, depending on where you're looking at it. And my question for you, Mr. Burke, relates to operating revenues and operating expenses. And as I understand it, we've got two things in front of us. On page 112, we have historic, actual, audited financial operating revenue, operating expenses that you looked at, right? You can hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep, great, thank you, thank you. So we've got 3 years of audited historic financials showing what appears to be operating expenses that have been increasing at a steady pace. It looks about $1 million, $1.3 million annually from 22 to 23, 23 to 24, which looks to be about a 10% increase in expenses year over year. Is that a fair back of the envelope math? About.
Yes, I agree.
Yep, okay. So we're looking at a 3-year trend of documented expenses going up about 10% a year, and at least from 23 to 24, revenues declined fairly substantially. And what we've got overall, so those are the first 2 lines of your assessment of historic financial statements. And then the net revenues available for debt service over that same period from 22 to 3, 23 to 24, what we're seeing is a declining amount year over year of revenues available for debt service. And as I understand it, this analysis removes those one-time grants, which is part of the analysis. But year over year was $2 million available, $1.7 million in 23, and then $1.6 million in 2024. And my concern is that the projections, that the analysis we got today, and I'm looking also here now back at page 57 of the packet, where we have projected revenues and expenses. Operating revenues, operating expenses. And as I understand it, anyone correct me if I'm wrong, these are based off of not the audited financial records, but instead the budgeted 2025 with projected increases on both going forward. Right? Do I have that right? Anyone? I'll assume I got that right. I'm sure Mr. Klein would correct me if I was wrong. So my concern is that operating expenses in 2025 are $4 million less than operating expenses were in 2024. And operating revenue is $3 million, $2.5 million more in 2025 than 2024. So my concern here is that, at least from a historic basis, the revenues available to pay a debt are getting smaller every year while growth has been growing, while more and more people are flying out of the airport, right? The enplanements have been going up year over year, but we're not seeing that growth reflected in audited financial documents for 3 years of analysis. So that makes me concerned. And why shouldn't I be concerned, Mr. Burt?
Commissioner Andrews, I would just say from a high level, the operating expenses that are shown in the audit include depreciation, which are not shown in the other table that you referenced. And I apologize, my pages here are a little bit different because I have the full agenda. I believe you're on 627 if I'm looking at the full agenda?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at table.
Is it-
A15, table A15 is the cash flow projection.
Yeah, correct. So I would pass to Mr. Klein generally, but I would just say that this is a cash flow, so it removes depreciation, similar to what we are doing in the audit analysis. I think that's an important piece there on the operating expense, because obviously depreciation is a non-cash expense. The rest of your questions, I would pass to the airport since they're here.
Is there somebody? You want them to answer? They're
Oh, I'm sorry,
available.
please come up. My
Yeah,
apologies.
he's trying to get your attention, sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And Stephen, I'm going to send you the individually packeted items so you have the right page numbers as being referenced.
Mark
Thank you.
Bishop, Chief Financial Officer for Traverse City Cherry Capital Airport. Yes, actually, what Mr. Burke has referenced is correct. That analysis does reflect also depreciation, which is a non-cash item from a financial statement perspective. The forecast that we're looking at from the standpoint of the proposal, which you've got on 57, does not reflect depreciation expense per se, but it does reflect our capital expenditures, which also is, that is more of a direct impact on our cash flows. So that is what the primary difference is between those numbers. They may not be apples to apples per se because of that.
But the revenue, operating revenue and operating expenses, are those apples to apples?
The operating revenue would be apples to apples, and I will say what's shown there for 2025 on page 57 are actually our forecasted revenues that we're projecting through the end of this year, and that's based upon actuals through October, and then what we're foreseeing for November and December. So that 13 million that we're showing there is actually where we're looking to land for the end of the year.
So I guess my question is, why are operating expenses apples to apples?
Yes, they would be as well.
So how do we explain actual operating expenses in 24 at 14 million and operating expenses in 25 at 10.8 million?
Well, I stand corrected, actually. That 14 million, that does include depreciation.
Okay.
The numbers that are on page 57 do not. So if we want to compare to depreciation, from a cash flow perspective, the capital expenses column would really be our true cash impact that's reflected.
Any more questions?
I just have a comment.
Go ahead, Commissioner Lynn. I'll get you next, Darrell.
Just, I don't want to use the words I've prayed on this, but I've spent a lot of my brain power in the last few weeks thinking about this a lot, especially at 2 in the morning when my cat wakes me up and I have to try to fall back asleep.
I'll offer a fix for that.
But, and I love the airport. I fly out. It's convenient. It's great. I love the economic power that it has, the effects it has. It's grown this community. I also grew up near Bishop Airport that it was also moved out, a little bit out of the way. My parents grew up by JFK, so the sounds don't bother me. But what I'm saying is as a commissioner, I sit here consistently and saying, I want to make plans for the future, and I hope that boards in the future respect and appreciate and understand our decisions. I have trouble sometimes in the planning decisions of past boards who did not prepare for our infrastructure needs and our housing needs when we had planning, master plans, strategic plans decades ago saying this is what we needed. I love the staff and the leadership of the airport. I respect you all tremendously. I think you do all such a great job. Like my dad always says, I would love to have a beer with you. But I also have to listen to my constituents who have major concerns about this. So I will say that I will, at this current time, vote no on giving our credit, our full faith credit.
Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you. I want to thank all the people that the constituents have been emailing in with comments, and the frustration is, and I understand their frustration with what they think they know, but there's been a lot of misconceptions out there. There's been a lot of, once a narrative kind of gets created, there's things that aren't really true. But I want to point out, and why I support this, amongst some of the other things we've already said, and the financial plan is good, but the county, the airport is not asking the county for money. A lot of people think that that's money coming from the county. The backing of this bond by the county is only designed to save money for one of our partners in the community, that if everything goes really, really bad and a lot of devastation were to happen, and the county were to take over that debt, if in a very unlikely scenario, the county would probably want to have a lower interest rate as well. So, but backing up to the unlikeliness of that to happen, it also, there's no one saying that this is going to prevent the county from doing any of the expansions that we're looking at doing over the next 10 years. It's very unlikely to even affect the bond rating of the county. There's no part of this expansion of the terminal that has anything to do with cutting down any trees anywhere. So I understand the neighborhood is worried about that, but there are no trees there. It's not going to affect that. The moving of the airport comes up frequently. A couple things to note about that is that the FAA is not going to support putting the airport somewhere else. So if asking for the full faith and credit of the county for $71 million in bonds sounds scary, think about the airport needing billions of dollars to move, because the FAA has hundreds of millions of dollars invested in an airport that has been there for a long time, and they're not going to support moving. So the community would have to come up with those billions of dollars, cut down a bunch of trees, and unhouse a bunch of people. And there's no need for that. We have a facility now, which even if we move the airport, that airport is going to stay an airport. You've got a federal facility there, the Coast Guard, and you have general aviation people who own real estate on that property. And you notice, in other words, airports with the FAA supporting that, all the hundreds of millions of dollars of infrastructure there, it's not going anywhere. It's not like it's suddenly going to be open for people to build housing or anything like that. In 2026, the airline terminal this goes to the need. A lot of people said we don't need the. In 2026, that airport terminal that we are currently using is going to be at 3 times its design capacity. 3 times design capacity. That's not a good situation. In our community, we have, even in this meeting, we've gone forward with help with community block grants, everything else. This is a way for us to partner with the airport to give the airport a $16 million in savings, helps make this project more desirable for things like the TIFIA funds. If the county doesn't support this full faith and credit, that 30 million potentially, or 23 million TIFIA funds possibility is lessened. That might not happen just because of that, and we want our community partners to be able to go out and get these kind of funds. So I don't want to, they want to see that the community is in support of this. If they don't have that, they've got to shore it up in other ways, and some of these other free monies that are possible aren't going to happen. So I've been on this board now for a long time. There's a lot of times that it takes leadership and courage to make a vote for the future, which is what you're talking about. We are looking into the future, and I have committed to any vote I make, I'm trying to look 20 years down the road, we'll be able to look back at it and say it was the right thing to do. A lot of times it's easy to chase the headlines, but I've been on this board long enough that we've made several very controversial votes, and every one of them has come out to be that we've landed sunny side up, and it's been a good thing. And I'm committed to that this is the same thing. So I hope that my fellow commissioners will give this good, careful consideration and vote in favor of it. I think it's really important. Thank you.
Commissioner Morris and then Commissioner Henschel.
So first of all, I just want to express admiration for my fellow board members who have this amazing capacity for finding the details, because I don't have that. And I think that's ultimately why we wind up making a good team, because we all have different abilities. Mine is an overarching, big picture, bottom line. I hear the details, I hear the financials. But two things. One, I know enough to know what I don't know about financials. And so I must listen to the experts. And, you know, Dean, I'm going to put you on the spot. Very often I look over at you. If I see an eyebrow twitch, I'm like, okay, I'm out. Dean doesn't like it.
No pressure.
No.
I don't play
Anyway,
poker.
Did you
one of
look
the
at him during the
things-
tattoo vote?
We'll talk tattoos later. But, you know, we have ownership of this project. Like, if I understand this correctly, if something catastrophic happened and the airport failed to meet its obligations, well, first of all, we'd probably have bigger problems than this, but we would own 85% of that debt, right? And then we would have cost ourselves, what, $16 million in interest doing that. But the other thing is that one of the things that Maxwell said a while ago that I really appreciated, as a county, we support regional growth. And there's nothing like the airport being both an economic driver and an economic supporter. And I really feel that as a partner that I do support this. I feel that, or I believe, because I vote against my own feelings all the time, that leadership requires some vision. And, you know, I feel like a lot of times we put, it's either this or that, you know, this project or that project, but, you know, we're a good team and we can figure this out. It doesn't have to be an either or. I'm a both and kind of person. I believe that we can make this happen. And so I am going to support this. And I do not believe it would hurt our credit rating. I do believe that we'll still be able to support all of the other projects that we have and are looking forward to. And so I guess that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. Hensel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to acknowledge and just say that I appreciate everybody on both sides of this, and I love how fiscally conservative we are. I'd really, you know, I've seen a lot of people in government just go off the deep end with spending and building layers of government, and I'm glad this is a hard issue for us. I'm glad it is. I also want to give respect to everyone who's spoken on the issue or sent us emails about it, and I want those concerns to be heard and addressed. And what our experts are telling us is that with all the building projects on scope for the county, this is not going to cause the county to pay more interest in this phased approach of building. We're not borrowing $250 million today to to build all our buildings and then also co-signing for the airport. You know, that would hurt our credit rating. But the phased approach that we're planning, we've been working through this process. From what I'm seeing from the experts, and honestly, we're using conservative numbers. When we estimate a jail cost, you know, we're talking high, you know, near $100 million figures. But when I look up what in the last 5 years counties in the United States of America have spent on building jails, it's far less than that, actually. So we're using conservative numbers, and I feel good about those. But I also want people to realize the benefit that Cherry Capital Airport brings to the taxpayers and voters of Grand Traverse County. It is a regional airport located here, and so we bear the infrastructure costs. We build the roads that lead to the airport. You know, that's land that's not on our tax base because it's our airport, much like NMC, much like the hospital. So we're a regional hub. So we do bear those costs. But by having people from surrounding counties come here, it creates an efficiency that lowers the cost to our residents. And the airport is a great example of that. You know, right now you can get round trip to Florida for under $100. Like, you can find those tickets. Last week I looked, a round trip to Paris, France from Traverse City, not from Detroit, from Traverse City, starting at $513. You can get a round trip to Europe. Like, you can really go places from Traverse City that historically was financially unfeasible for most of us. But now people that are at median income can have affordable travel. That is an effect of having a regional airport. And yeah, we do bear those costs. But you know, when I look around the state of Michigan, I'm just going to name off a few. Bishop International Airport in Flint, Capital Regional International Airport Lansing, West Michigan Regional Airport in Holland, Southwest Michigan Regional Airport in Benton Harbor, Luce County Airport in Newberry, Beaver Island Airport in Beaver Island, just to name a few, all taxpayer-funded airports. People who live near the airport have to pay taxes to have that airport there. And I guarantee you, those people, most of them, aren't going to Paris on $513. This is a very well-run airport, a very well-located airport because of our regional hub up here. Those are all benefits to the people that live in the county, live in the city of Traverse City, and they've got to put up with a little bit of airport noise and maybe some airport traffic, just like the Cherry Festival traffic. This is a great benefit to the local community. So I don't want to minimize the concerns people have raised. I get it. We need to sharpen our pencil, and I think we've done a good job of that and looked at those numbers. It's not going to cost the county more interest. And even if it did at a small level, it would be minimal. And that is the point of our AA plus bond rating. This is why we have that, why we've taken and we've curated that. Dean Botts had a great hand in that over the years, and we loaned that bond rating to things like the Munson Hospital System so that we can have the best possible hospital system here. We loan that credit rating and back bonds for the BPW and the sewer and water infrastructure in our county and our townships. That's one of the reasons we have that bond rating, and this is one more way we can use that good credit, that good name we have, to have the best possible airport. And it's not, nothing's a sure thing, but all indications lead to all we have to do is agree, and it's going to save local residents the equivalent of about $16 million in interest that they would otherwise pay. And that comes in better airport, better ticket prices, more airlines interested in the area, and there's some big ones looking at us right now. That's great. So those are all, I think, good reasons to consider being a partner with us. And I sit on the airport board, and I would appreciate the consideration of my fellow board members.
All right, so almost everybody's spoken, so Commissioner McAllister.
Hi. I don't know who to ask, if it's Stephen Burke or if it's Mr. Bott, but if this is a commitment we do, how does that affect our bond rating? Can it, does it? Is there a definitive answer on that?
Well, Stephen is on the line. He did do an analysis of that, so I will defer to him. He can summarize the effect that it would have.
Yeah, happy to do that, Commissioner. So we have looked at this in several different ways, and I think I can say that nothing is 100%, but I would say that in our best estimation, the county plus airport, county debt that's being considered, plus airport debt, is not likely to cause the county to have a downgrade in the foreseeable future. If something were to change monumentally with the county's economy or the economy as a whole, that could change, but it's not going to be, the bond rating could change, but it's not going to be the debt that causes it.
Okay.
If I could add too, back in late 2023, Mr. Burke and I worked on the county road commission bond issue, about an $11 million bond issue. Mr. Burke worked very hard when we rated that with S&P to get our bond rating upgraded a notch from AA to AA+, and we leaned on the airport, the effect that they have on not only the local economy, but the regional economy, and it was the airport driving that economic impact that helped us get to a large extent that increase or improvement in our bond rating.
Okay, can you, I don't know, if I assume this is for you, can you tell me, does that change if we did a full pledge or didn't about the projects we have that we need to see in the future, the Alpha Building being one, the Justice Center? I mean, I don't have an exact dollar amount on it, but would that impede us from our next 10 years of site or 20 years or?
We included that potential additional debt in the analysis that Mr. Burke put together, and we feel that, as has been mentioned, the potential phasing of those projects, you've got 2 projects that will start probably sometime in early 2026, but adding that debt and then going through the ratings that will be required, we feel that we will maintain our AA+ bond rating on those bonds that are issued. And, you know, we have debt coming off. Every year we pay down our county debt. The townships are paying down their debt. I think the analysis that Mr. Burke put together does explain that we can manage that debt while maintaining our current credit rating.
Okay. Is there a point in this process where we're relieved of co-signing on it, like after 2-3 years it doesn't affect us, or is there relief on that end of it, or we're just on for 30 years, or how does that work?
That's probably a Roger question, but my answer would be that we're committing to this for the life of the bond issues.
Okay. Can anybody tell me who owns the airport?
Please, come on up. You don't have to wait for us, Mr. Klein. Come on up.
Kindergarten. The actual property is owned by the Airport Authority.
The actual property. What about the structures and that part?
Same with the structures.
Same with the structures?
Yep.
Okay. Is the county on the hook for any of that or any part of that, or?
So with the authority agreement, what was created is, what's required under state law is a backstop. So because the 2 counties, Leelanau County and Grand Traverse County, created the authority, the backstop then returns everything back to the 2 counties. So if the airport were ever to go bankrupt, then the 2 counties would absorb it. That agreement sets up an 85-15 split that makes up. So the airport, if it ceased to exist as an authority, would then become back to the 2 counties to form some type of governmental agency, but the responsibility would be 85% to Grand Traverse County.
Thank you. That's what I had.
I think Mr. Swatz was going to respond to that.
Mr. Swatch, you got something to add? Roger?
Well, to the question about, excuse me, the question about being on the hook, yeah, that would be for the life of the bond issue. I think the 2 to 3 years that you might have in mind could be a concept Steve had talked about before, that once these bonds are issued, if they are, and the airport shows coverage for a certain period of time, then they would be viewed as self-supporting bonds for a rating perspective, which further reinforces the concept that this would not affect the counties, or would not lead to a county downgrade.
Thank you.
So within a few years, that would be reanalyzed, our bond rating, and we'll take that into consideration?
Yeah, on an annual basis, when the bond rating agencies look at the county, they're going to look at the airport, they're going to pull the airport's audit, and they're going to recalculate the coverage percentage to determine the self-supporting. So if the airport is producing enough net revenues to pay the debt service without using any of their reserves, then S&P assigns 100% to that year. Once there's 3 consecutive years of 100%, it'll no longer count against the county. Now, if there is a year where they go back under, S&P uses the lowest of the last 3 years. So if there was say there was a recession and the airport had 90% coverage, 10% of the remaining debt would be counted against the county's debt score again. And this is only the debt score, not obviously the county making payments to it. This is only for the purpose of the bond rating calculation.
Please continue.
I have a follow-up for Mr. Burke. At a previous meeting, you shared that it was a possibility that our bond rating would be decreased, and now you're saying with a phased approach that it won't. So can you speak a little bit to your change in perception of that and what that means?
Sure. The two separate statements. The statement where the risk of a downgrade would be high was in a hypothetical scenario where the county were to issue $200 million of debt in addition to the airport bonds today. Under that scenario, the risk of a downgrade would be high. The phased approach and the current estimates of those projects significantly lower than $200 million, at least the projects over the next 5 years that I have any knowledge of. That approach, the total amount of net debt is significantly less than $200 million. And based on our analysis, we do not believe that the county is in significant danger of a rating downgrade under that scenario.
So if all of that debt is issued before 2030, you're saying there won't be a downgrade, or most likely won't be?
I would say that the current plan that the county has laid out, which is for the 3 phases of debt over the next 5 years, that under that scenario, the risk of a downgrade is very low, and I would say you're not in danger of a downgrade.
Just to clarify, by current plan, do you mean the plan where the jail bonds come online in 2030? That one that you presented a couple of weeks ago?
Correct. That's correct.
So,
and I should say that the scenario analyzed, maybe not current plan, but the scenario analyzed is in alignment with what we discussed back in September.
and then following that, can you refer on page 110 of the packet where you provide your updated additional debt rating stress test? As I read this updated table, should the county incur $100,000, we risk going from AA plus down to AA. That's when we hit that total score of 180 that I think you've raised as, that's when you risk your credit going down. Your credit.
Yeah, and again, that is today. So if we were to issue $100 million today, and the rating impact score would move the county's rating to something close to 1.8, which would put it in, firmly in between the two ratings of a AA plus and a AA. Given the current strength of the county, I do not believe that it would cause a downgrade today. I think that if we're talking, again, a hypothetical where the county issued 150 or 200 million today, that the rating agencies would have to consider downgrading the county. But again, I don't think that that's any of the scenarios that we have analyzed, from at least our discussions with the administration.
You haven't analyzed a scenario where the jail is built before 2030, correct?
Not specifically.
I thought we were building it before 2030.
I believe we are.
Okay, that's one area of concern, because I thought that we're starting this process. It's going to take a while, but it's not going to take 5 years to begin building it. So that is a concern for me, because first and foremost, we have a duty and obligation to our own projects and our own taxpayers, and we've started that process. It's going to take a while, but I'm hoping it's not going to take 5 years, 4 years, 5 years to start that.
Which was my question also. So is there somebody that can lay that out for us to make sure that the projects we do, we can do without repercussion or
Correct.
additional cost or whatever? Is there some scenario that we can get on that? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I think that's the question
the
that we've
question.
been dancing around, that we've gotten a couple different answers on, is this scenario with 2030. I don't even know where that came from, because we're trying to move things along faster than that.
Correct.
The project assumptions are on this packet. I think it's page 8 of 26 or 28. The print is bad print, but it does give project assumption modeled, and you're right, the Justice Center, and it says summer 2030 closing, which isn't accurate.
Well, it could close at 2030. It started before that, though.
Yeah,
Well,
probably.
no, that
Is that
that
correct?
means that's when they hit the books, and it would hit the books before that.
You have to issue bonds before that.
Yes. Absolutely, please, go ahead.
So my understanding is that the Airport Authority has applied, and this is in response to Commissioner Nelson's point, for TIFIA. My understanding is TIFIA is not free money. It's a low-interest loan that the Airport Authority applied for TIFIA already. I believe the reference to the Airport Authority Board was that you believe the chances are very, very good that the TIFIA loan would come through. The TIFIA loan would replace the 2027 series, and it's a loan, so there's a lower interest, even lower than the county's bonding interest. And I believe that's somewhere in the packet. I just want to make sure I generally understand that correctly. That's right. So in that scenario, the airport would not need the county's full faith and credit for the amount that's under TIFIA loan. That's correct. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that. My second concern goes to the comment that we're at 3 times design capacity. And I understand the information is in the packet. The historic enplanements, the number of people that are getting on planes is going up. But knowing that 500,000 or 700,000 people got on a plane in 2024 really doesn't tell us much, right? Like if you told us that 500,000 or 700,000 people drove down South Airport in 2024, you can't assess whether there was congestion. It doesn't tell you anything about congestion because it's relative, right? Congestion is by definition a relative number. It's based on peak, and peak can be based on any number of things. If you told me that 700,000 people walked into Walmart in 2024, we have no idea if Walmart was ever at any point in violation of their building code. Right? It just depends on the spread of people over time. What I haven't seen is an analysis that shows us how many people are inconvenienced, how often, and for how long. We haven't seen that assessment. And I don't feel like we know, without knowing how many people are inconvenienced for how long, and therefore are benefited by the project in a real sense. And frankly, how off of their expectations is that? I mean, I don't think anybody flies in 2025 without expecting to be inconvenienced. For how long are we inconvenienced and why? And you know, those are all relative questions that I think as a community we should have a discussion around. How often do we want to let people be inconvenienced? But what we are seeing is that despite the inconvenience, people are still flying. So the numbers keep going up. So I don't doubt that there is some need for expansion. I just don't know what the cost-benefit analysis looks like, and I certainly am not convinced that there's no risk here. I think there's risk. I think anyone who tells us that there's no risk is not being genuinely honest with us. There is risk. You can't incur debt like this for a project like this in a community that's as seasonal as this without incurring some risk. And for me, when you have risk, it's a question of who should be allocated that risk. And as I have made very clear my position, I believe that the people who should be allocated that risk are the people who fly and not the people who pay property taxes in Grand Traverse County.
Commissioner Morris.
I just had a question for Dean. Did I mishear, maybe you aren't even the one who said this, but the airport kind of helped us get to our high rating?
Well,
Can you explain that?
yes, when we issue bonds, Mr. Burke and I will have a phone conference with S&P, Standard & Poor's, or in some cases Moody's investors, and they'll ask us all sorts of questions about our finances, our budget philosophy, what's happening with major employers in the area, taxable value, tax base, a lot of questions. We generally are also asked questions about the economy, major employers, businesses that move to the area. When we rated the Road Commission bond issue back in it was late 2023, Mr. Burke gets the credit for this, but he basically compared our county to Lake Tahoe, and he suggested that the people from these bond rating agencies should come here, but he quickly mentioned the airport and the economic impact that our airport has on the local, not only the local economy, but on the region in general. And we both, Mr. Burke and I, firmly believe that one of the main reasons we got that increase in our bond rating from AA to AA+ was because of the discussion we had with the bond rating agency at the time regarding the airport and the economic impact it has. We also do a very good job managing our financial house. We've got very conservative budget practices, but there is an economic score, and we really did push or lean on the airport and the impact that they have on that score in the rating.
So then, in my mind, that kind of bolsters the fact that we should be supporting this, at least for me. Thank you.
Commissioner McAllister.
Well, I want to circle back around to Mr. Burke. So I was of the understanding when I look at it, like our project was going to be done somewhere around 30, not starting or coming on the book. So can you explain to me the ratings on that, since we do want to get a jail built or a justice hall or whatever you want to call it, before, at least start the project before that and be able to do it without financial implications. So I thought we were on the same page, but according to Commissioner Andrews, we are not exactly. So can you walk me through that?
Sure, and I will speak to a high level, and then I would maybe ask Dean or Nate to add some additional color. But the timing of the debt coming on was based upon the timing of debt coming off and the available revenues to pay that. So two questions at hand of can the county, from a top down, handle that amount of debt, and then secondarily, can the county pay for the debt, and what revenues are you going to use from the debt? So the scenarios that we were working on was how is the county going to pay for it? What are the available revenues, and what are the timing of those revenues, and when are they available? And so that was the work that was being done last September, and I believe that's how we got to the timing.
Thank you, Stephen. And yeah, that was back in September. In the county, we contemplated up to $134 million in debt by August of 2030. That includes the jail and potential municipal service complex and the Project Alpha. We presented payment options to you a week or so ago that would drop that Project Alpha payment to about $17 million. But one thing that's important is that we're going to lose $29.6 million in debt over the next 5 years. That will amortize out. So that is what I think Stephen is saying, is that if that is the case, if we bond it right now, there's a chance that that rating goes down, or bond rating goes down. We're not going to do that.
You're saying if we bond everything we're trying to do? Yep. Today?
Today.
That's what he's
Okay.
saying.
It's not happening.
That's not going to happen. You know, we're not even into Project Alpha yet. We haven't started the debt service for Project Alpha. We've got a 8 to 10 month process that we're going to go through for the Justice Facility. You know, that debt with 134 million, give or take a year or two, that it's there, it's contemplated.
Thank you.
Do you want to say something, Daryl?
Sure.
Commissioner Nelson?
It's getting late.
Daryl, Commissioner Nelson, hey you.
Hey, you.
What I started with before is, are we leaders up here? We got to take a leadership role. We can dice this apart, and nobody is saying there's no risk. Nobody's saying that at all. You always manage risk in everything we do. There is minimal risk. Our council is stating there's minimal risk. That's if things go, all the numbers that everyone's provided us, and even load testing them, stress testing them, having all this bonded by 2030. We're not talking about after 2030. We have a very good airport that most communities in the nation know about and would love to have. Airports are growing, and they're growing regionally. Traverse City's that's not going to change. So I think we need to get on board with this to make this happen. 20 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to be amazed of the change of this area. And the business community, all of our surveys show that that is a very important part for getting employees and getting people to move here. So that and part of that is having the air services. Our community partners have all contacted us and said this is a crucial importance, and they're asking us to do it. So please, I'm asking again, this is very important, and I hope you guys will give it good consideration, and I hope you vote for it.
I got one more.
Go right ahead, sir.
You know, as we talk in some of our meetings and stuff like that, and looking at the future and stuff, vision is sometimes clouded by a lot of things, you know. And if we watch what the airport has done, it's been good, and they have a vision for what they consider the future, and as long as the numbers are correct, it'd probably be a good thing to support, as long as we can do it without being downgraded or costing taxpayers money for the projects we want to do. So that's all I wanted to put out there.
We don't know that for sure.
We don't.
That's the risk. And, you know, I love the airport. I love flying out of the airport. It is crowded. It does, I mean, expansion is going to happen whether we support it or not. That's not the vote today, whether it's going to expand or not. It's going to happen. What's in front of us right now is really the risk piece of it for our county taxpayers. And to me, it really comes down to our ability to effectively manage the projects that we have in front of us, that we've been talking about, we've been investing in with today, even with our consultants, and the unknown of the downgrading of that and how it's going to impact the financials of these projects that we are tasked with managing. The airport can do this on their own, and they will, and it'll be good. It's necessary. And we can stay in our lane and focus on our own projects and not take on that risk.
Anybody else? Okay, so I had a couple questions. One, I'm in a very unique position, you know, for all transparency and all that most people in my constituents don't care. The only thing they care about if the airport's going to fail. To Commissioner Morris's point, I'm looking at people on a TV screen, Director Klein and his staff are all quote-unquote experts in their field. And I don't think that they're planning to fail. Because if they fail, they'll be looking for a job. I can guarantee that for those of you home, if I'm still here. So, having said that, I think that there are some questions that we need to answer. I would like to see Stephen redo that with the exchange of, we're going to be bonding out the jail prospectively at 2027 to put some people's mind at ease. But the couple of things that my two constituents concern about is if it fails, how are they on the hook and how are they on the hook? And the other thing is, which I'm shocked that nobody brought it up, is the air show. The concern about the air show, last year, there were votes and there was concern that the air show would get moved or would get reduced so we could be accommodating to external flights for people to visit here. And as you can imagine, that went over very, very well, not with the constituency. As we expand the airport, and I've been the guy sitting on the tarmac waiting, or loaded off the tarmac onto the plane here in Traverse City, I get it, I'm in. That this expansion is going to affect that. This, what is it, next year's the 100th anniversary of the Cherry Festival. They've had an air show here for almost as long as I've been alive, and that's, so. And I know that really has no bearing on the bond. I think that they're doing due diligence, but personally, I want to see a guarantee that that's not going to end the air show or move it to another municipality, or, hey, we can't have jets because, you know, we got to have 15 flights from Connecticut today. So that's kind of where I was going, gentlemen, when I was like, hey, hold on a second before you make a motion. So I've made some inquiries. This is from Administrator Eldridge. I didn't demote you that time. So I asked, if this motion fails today, what can we do moving forward? And Matt, please correct me if I'm wrong. But if it fails today, it either needs to come back in a different form, meaning we're splitting up Series 26 and Series 27. Is that correct, nomenclature, Series 26 and Series 27? Thank you. Or a motion to reconsider would mean to be approved as permitted by board rule, and that motion has to be by somebody who voted no on today's topic.
Only at the same meeting.
I don't know about that. Is that correct, Matt?
So the two processes you've identified are correct. I just want to say that the motion for reconsideration process is contained in your board rules. So that would be what we'd be following if it was going to come back in the same form at a later meeting.
Okay, thank you. So I hear a lot of people saying.
But it can come back in a different form.
It could come back in a different form. So
are you
I'm going to take a stab at this. And
There's a motion on the table.
hold on,
already.
I know everybody. Damn. I'm going to make the motion that we table the motion until next week, so we can get for Mr. Burt to give us the information that we request. And to perhaps maybe see something a little bit of a future for the air show. So I'll need a second for that.
I'll second it.
So I have made the motion to table this until next week. Second by Commissioner McAllister. Any discussion?
Can, I mean, one more time, just specify what's different next week?
Well, for one, Mr. Burke's planning about our load debt is wrong. We are not going to build a $40 million building on Lafreniere before we build the jail. I want that switched, and I want to see how that affects us. I don't think it'll affect anything. Again, experts in the room, but it could make the difference between a failure and a passing of the vote. In addition to that, I have concerns about the air show, because that's really what my constituents care about, is carrying somebody else's water and not having an air show, which is free to the constituents of this county. So in case anybody missed that, my priorities are building a justice facility and continuing the air show. As it has been, I don't want a bunch of kites and biplanes and say, hey, we continued the air show. Because that was a conversation, and that's not the fault of the airport. I will be very clear on that. I understand that two tough guys in the room fighting it out, they're going to have to learn to live with each other. They don't have to love each other. So there we go.
Okay,
Is Mr. Burke clear on what we need from him? Can you summarize what you're going to bring back?
Cheers, Stephen.
I believe so. Is the request to change the timing of the jail to 2027, and then the municipal facility to a later date, 2030?
Yes.
That
is accurate. Mr. Klein, Director Klein, excuse me.
I appreciate the comments on the Cherry Festival, and we have worked diligently to ensure that that show will go in on perpetuity. We've recently proposed minimum standards to make that happen, and also to ensure that there's a jet team available for that. So I want to reassure you, that question is not anything you have to consider.
Well, we're halfway there. Fantastic, thank you. So I have a motion on the floor.
I was wondering if your intention is that part of us giving grant assurances is somehow contractually obligating the airport to a certain level of air show. And I don't know if that's even.
I don't even know if that's possible, so.
I know, that's what I was wondering.
You know, he's on the record saying, hey, he's making assurances. I'm
Okay.
probably gonna take him at his word at that. I know where he's at if he's
It's a
misspoken.
contractual relationship. It can't get in the grant assurance, and we couldn't promise because of standing on that. But full faith in negotiating with them. We're aviation lovers. Why wouldn't we want to see it?
Fantastic, thank you, Director Klein. So let's have a roll call vote. Ms. Shealy, if you please.
What are we voting on?
We're tabling Daryl's motion that we approve the bond proposal till next week.
All due respect, I'm going to vote no,
That's cool.
but
You
I
should.
know enough for it. I know I'm going to vote, so I'm ready, so that's.
Yeah, we've had a lot of meetings on this.
Walter?
Yes.
Spence?
Yes.
Henschel?
No.
Nelson?
No.
Andrews?
No.
Morris?
No.
McAllister?
Yes.
Flynn?
No.
Seifert?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, made by Commissioner Nelson, supported by Commissioner Hensel. Support the bond proposal as presented. You're off the hook, Mr. Burke. Roll call vote, if you please.
May I please,
Go,
before
please
we
do.
leave, Stephen, he can redo the analysis. My point earlier is we're at $134 million by the August of 2030, regardless of what, you can flip the schedule. You could put the jail first and Project Alpha last. There's going to be likely some minor changes in that due to the percentage of the interest rates that you're going to occur early on, but I don't think it's going to be a significant change, but
Couldn't be.
we'll work through it and have that for you by next week.
Works for me, thank you.
But you can flip it. You could change these numbers in any way, shape, or form.
Thank you very much for that. Again, a roll call vote, if you please.
Okay. Spence?
No.
Henschel?
Yes.
Nelson?
Yes.
Andrews?
No.
Morris?
Yes.
McAllister?
Yes.
Flynn?
No.
Walter?
No.
Seifert?
Yes.
Passed.
Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank not only my peers here, but also the airport and the constituents and the community. This is a lot of work for something that the experts say will be wonderful. Thanks for your time. Go ahead.
I would like to thank the entire county commission, the staff, and everybody for the efforts to put in. What you've done is made it better. You really have. You've asked the right questions, you've asked the right detail, and it's now our responsibility to honor what you've just done. So thank you very much for that, and we will work to ensure we maintain your trust. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving right along.
That's funny.
Is our lunch here yet? So, I can't believe it's before 1 o'clock and we actually got to our last agenda item, our unfinished business 10A. Administrator Alger, if you please.
So if you recall, back in August of 2025, the drain commissioner from Antrim County and Council Stacy Hissong made a presentation to this board about the need for the lower chain of lakes lake level control device and located in Elk Rapids. It's deteriorating and they need to have that repaired. And back in 1864 or something long ago, the Antrim County Circuit Court created a lake level order that mandated the counties that touch Elk Lake and Skegamog Lake have a special assessment district so they can pay for the control structure to begin with. Since then, that assessment was assessed one time, is my understanding, and it's never been assessed again. So here we are in 2025. They need to have repairs done, so they are asking for the resolution that is in your packet. Mr. Nordfjord has reviewed this and prepared changes based on some of the discussion we had in closed session. Board, it's up to this board to approve the resolution or not. One thing for sure is going to happen. The assessment districts, as I understand it, were created outside of statutory structure. So it's only those that are attached to the lake frontage or have access to the lake frontage. They assess countywide, is my understanding. So you have the resolution in your packet. I can say that the Drain Commissioner from Antrim County and the council, they're wanting to move on this. Some of our concerns are, we don't know what the cost is going to be. We don't know when that cost is going to come. So one of the items addressed in the resolution is no expenditure over $10,000 without county board approval. But truly, either, and Matt can answer this more directly, if they fix the lake structure or the control structure, they are going to give Grand Traverse County an amount. And we can either pay it through general fund or we can create an assessment district. I would firmly recommend that we create an assessment district to make sure that those costs are defrayed and not out of our general fund. But that is up for your discussion. Happy to answer questions or take comments that you may have.
Anybody? Oh, Commissioner Nelson, this is your district, I believe.
Yeah, I'm real excited about that.
You're welcome. It's not my fault, I swear.
So, well, I know. But yeah, at that meeting where the drain commissioner came, I think we all kind of had, our eyes went like that. If your guys' eyes were this big, mine were that big because, oh boy. So I have been working with Leslie Myers, the drain commissioner from Antrim County. We've also got a meeting on Thursday, actually. We're working with Grand Traverse County, Antrim, Kalkaska, and Charlevoix, which is not related to this particular. But after spending a lot of time and research learning about this, I can promise you that I feel like I know less now than I did when I started. So Part 307, all this, there's a lot to this. So I would like, I wish I had my opinion on this. I'd like to do a little more research before I even can say what I think about this. And I know that we need to kind of move forward on stuff, but
So correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Alger, we are not under any kind of time crunch, is that correct? I mean, we will eventually have to address this,
Right,
but we
yeah.
don't have to do it today.
There may be some type of, I don't know. It doesn't appear to be
I don't
that
know the
way.
answer to that either.
But there may be some court intervention that could be taken by Antrim County to force the hand of Grand Traverse County. I don't think we're there yet. Matt, what is your interpretation of a time frame?
Nate, I don't know if there is a set timeline other than the fact that, at least from what the presentation, we have a problem that needs to be fixed as it relates to the lake control structure. I don't think anybody's presented to us that it's imminent failure, but the project needs to occur.
I'm doing a tour on Thursday. We're meeting at the dam shop, ironically, to talk about this. I'll even have more information about how critical this is after Thursday afternoon. And I just feel, right or wrong, I feel like I'd be shooting from the hip right now, and I would prefer to have a little more
Damn information.
I'd like the damn information.
Well, is there any other option other than forming an assessment district to fund it? I mean,
We could pay for it out of our general fund.
right, so
I
that's
think-
not happening.
I think the ultimate answer is we're gonna go with that assessment district for, the
Right.
people have access.
We
I
just
think that's
don't
probably what's
know
gonna happen.
how much they'll be assessed. That is the unknown, but it's going to be, the project is going to be very expensive. We do know that.
So the concern about cost is legitimate. The lower lake level control structure located in Elk Rapids does control the lake levels for Skigamog and Elk, but there's also this upper chain that
Yeah, it's a
goes
different
into Lake Charlevoix, and there is interest in modifying some of those other apparatuses as they go north. We really need to make sure that
We're paying our proportion.
we're paying our portion. We're not paying for the whole portion. We're paying
Right.
for that much of, was it 15%?
It's less than 15%.
Who are the lake owners or shared lake
Right.
ownership?
But even are we responsible for the upper lakes and the lower lakes and?
Not from my way of thinking.
Right, I admit, same here, but.
Well, and to
I
to
don't-
your point about 15%, well, what are you doing that on? Are you doing that percentage of lakefront owners, or are you doing on percentage of lakefront frontage?
No,
Because
it's-
when taxes, correct me if I'm wrong, when
Yeah.
taxes are assessed, it's by the foot. It's not because you're just another person on
Yeah,
the
that
lake.
was the measurement. It was by footage, not by.
Okay.
Not by value or anything like that. But, and, you know, thankfully, we're not Antrim County. They have a much bigger assessment they're looking at. But,
What we want to be involved in, Commissioner, is we want to be involved in all of those discussions because the hydrology experts can come in and say, well, it does impact all this water coming here and there could impact those lake owners. I think being involved with that process is important. Again, Matt said it as well. We have a problem we need to fix. I don't know that problem is right now.
my intention was to this board was, I was gonna, in the learning phase on this, and then I was gonna come up for air with you guys and say, all right, here's what I found, and I'm not there yet.
I
mean,
appreciate
Go ahead.
To Commissioner Walters' point, if the county is flatly unwilling to assess on our own general fund, 1/15 of an unknown project cost, why are we willing to hoist that on these parcel owners, right? Like, if it's a non-starter for a $50 million county, doesn't that mean it's a non-starter? I mean, right, it could
Well, it's
be a
partly because
huge
of
amount of money. And if-
Previous law.
And the answer to that, well, if, obviously, we're not paying for it. These 300 people will, you know what I mean? And we just don't know what scope we're talking about, and it does give me pause, because it could be such a big number, and instead of diffusing it, we're concentrating it. That is caution, that's a red flag to me, and I also, if we are already on the hook, I guess we could maintain the status quo until a judge orders us otherwise, and then couldn't we act at that point when there's more clarity around what the project is and what the district looks like?
I think we owe a good faith effort to the partners in Antrim County that we're moving forward and exploring, and I think it's fair for us to say that, as you said, we don't even know what we don't know. We don't know the questions to ask fully, who's doing the engineering study, all that.
Do we need somebody who's highly qualified in assessing dams and projects like this, like, say, a drain commissioner who we work with a lot, to give us a recommendation? Is this a good idea? You know what I mean? Like,
And I'm not sure it's any of the drain commissioners, I'm sure there are experts in that particular.
Right.
There's
Like,
some dam experts out there.
It would just,
I'm saying
I
that.
feel like we got nothing here. We've got to, I mean, I
agree.
appreciate that red lines, which, by the way, I don't think are complete, because there's still over $10,000 in the intro, in the whereas clauses, but putting that aside, I don't think that really gives me comfort that this is a good idea.
We know we have a dam issue.
Yeah. Well, again, I share the same concerns that without more information, it looks like even though there's a $10,000 limit to a point, it's like we're writing a blank check, but it's just $10,000 installments. But I'm like, yeah, I'm not so down with that. And it's like you said, you don't know what the cost or the scope of the project is, where our responsibility is, and if we're not, and I'm gonna guess we're probably not willing to do it out of the general fund, but it could be cost prohibitive for those 375 property owners too. So we're like, hey, it's $3 million, good luck with that. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. I'm gonna roll with you, Darryl. I'm all about waiting, find us a little information. I don't know that I'm gonna wait to the point where a judge says, you're gonna do this. I think there should be some good faith there, but I think we need a little more,
We're not
more than a
burying
little
our-
information.
We're not burying our head in the sand on this.
No.
We're information gathering, and
I just
Commissioner
want to thank Commissioner Andrews for bringing up a point that we don't have a long-term plan for dealing with hydrology in our county. We don't, I was always against making the drain commissioner a technical role. It's a political, a managerial, administrative role. And when we up to the pay to a technical role, well, it's a political position. It could be anybody next term. It could be anybody, qualified or not. The county really needs, from the administration down, either a contractor or an employee that is an expert in these lake levels that we have responsibilities for. We can't keep leaning on the drain commissioner. The county's bigger than that now. It's time to look more big picture, more long-term than, hey, Andy, what should we do? Because next term it might not be Andy. He might not want to do it again. And then we're right back to where we are.
Sorry.
Please, go ahead, Commissioner Walter.
I agree with that, but I mean, I'd love to hear his thoughts on it because he's the
100%.
closest to it than any of us, or at least me. Some of you probably know more. But the other thing is, I do want to applaud Antrim because they aren't waiting till it's imminent, hopefully. I mean, it's bad, right? We know that, but we keep talking about deferred maintenance on things and everybody pushing off infrastructure projects to the last minute, and I'm happy they're trying to address it for the whole region. I mean, this is a regional impact. This affects the economy of all of northern Michigan, quality of life, not just the lake owners themselves, but across northern Michigan. So, I do want to get in more information too, and I do want to be a partner, and I'm happy they're getting it started because although it's an unknown, very expensive thing, and we don't have the money to bond for it anymore, but maybe, maybe we can be.
Oh, you're willing to
I
pay
just
for it
had to throw that
countywide?
in. But maybe we can be a partner in another way. But
100%.
yeah,
Are we going to do a finding of fact with our Drain Commissioner Smits on what this all entails? Somebody had mentioned that we could get some facts and find out more about what is actually needed by him. And if so, can we roll in what's going on with Silver Lake? Because I toured that Cox Distributing facility all the way to Silver Lake where the drain is, and there's some serious culverts that are deteriorating. So, I mean, I don't want to marginalize what's going on with Antrim County and their need to resolve this issue at the chain of lakes, but I feel like there's a little bit more going on that we could utilize Mr. Smith's expertise and engineering knowledge.
Please.
I agree with Commissioner Henschel and Commissioner Spence. This is a bigger problem than one of these lake districts. We're doing it, ad hoc, so to speak, but it is a systematic or a larger issue. And I guess what we did last week, days run together, on Silver Lake is we stop-gapped, and then we could stop-gap again. Do we want, some input from Drain Commissioner Smits? Is that helpful? Is that, and I think the question is longer term, we need a bigger picture perspective on how we manage our water assets and the infrastructure that, helps us cross them and helps us
maybe
move
like
them.
a planning department could help with that.
Well, it could be, but maybe, I guess one question is there a stopgap on this one? Is a stopgap, Commissioner Nelson wants to get a little more information. Is that enough of a stopgap? Do we want to take action and ask our drain commissioner for, again, another stopgap advice, just a perspective? Is that helpful? Meanwhile, knowing that, I think there is some interest in seeing, how do we address this?
I think all of that would be helpful from him.
At the airport, they have an official airport engineer. So if you had a hydrology thing or at the airport, they would go, Bob, what do we do with this?
You got one, Kevin?
You have one to lend?
I hear the road commission doesn't actually have one of those anymore.
Oh,
You're going to have an extra $16 million.
Maybe we should too, but I think the question is.
Hire somebody.
I agree with you, but.
I move to adjourn.
Sorry, this is devolving quickly.
That's all right, we've been here a long day. So I think we're going to do nothing until Commissioner Nelson gives us an idea. And
I'll have a report for you next week as per my meeting that I had on Thursday, and maybe I'll have some discussion with the administration and the attorney if it's warranted, but I'm not a hydrologist. I sold beer, wine, and liquor for a living, so I'm not taking on that role.
Can we make a kind request of the drain commissioner to
100%.
be involved
Very
in
kind.
this? I don't know how much
I'll
involvement.
have a conversation with him and see if he feels it's appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in his county, but it's.
Well, part of it is.
I think he's been in contact with the Antrim commissioner on this
He
as
has.
well. Yeah.
I'd love to hear what he has to say.
Maybe we can get him to come by next week, too.
So next week is a special meeting. It's a singular purpose. So the purpose currently, you can add purposes, but right now it's the budget discussion to put the final touches on the 2026 budget. We're ready to go with that. We have some changes to make due to the conversation today, but that's a special meeting, so any purpose that we have under discussion next week has to be identified on the agenda.
Okay, well, I think we're meeting tomorrow, right?
Right.
Well, there's no reason not to put this on the agenda. If we don't get to it next week because we can't and we don't have the information, then we can again table it. But if we don't put it on the agenda for next week, then we can't add it to the agenda.
Don't predict that we'll have a big solution, just maybe some more information.
So
Yeah. can we
agenda
just-
or not agenda?
Not agenda, no.
Just make it a commissioner report, maybe?
Even an update?
We can do that.
We could simply make a motion right now that the chairman can put on the agenda next week whatever he deems appropriate.
I don't even need a motion for that, we just do that anyway.
Well, a special meeting requires 3 commissioners to send in written requests.
There's 4 commissioners on the agenda setting committee.
Just put it in writing, cover your bases.
So. All right, so any more for that? Thank you, Commissioner Nelson. That's awesome for doing that for us and your
I'm looking
people.
forward to hearing about it.
Yeah, so am I.
So we're going to go right into any commissioner or department reports that they want to add today. Commissioner Walter.
The cannabis work group met this week. I can't remember what date it is. I don't know what date it is anymore, but it was Monday, I think.
Okay.
We had a really good discussion, and we are bringing the list of recommended applicants for funding to the meeting on the 17th is what we're aiming for, right?
17th?
17th.
Yes.
Yes, is what we're aiming for. So I thought it went really well.
I
Good
think-
discussion, and it was quite a process and amazing applicants, and we narrowed it down to, I believe, 13 for consideration on the 17th.
Yeah, I thought the committee did a really nice job diving in, had great discussion about all the projects that they discussed and looked at, and very, very quick and efficient to a position.
We could only be quick and efficient because staff did most of the work,
Staff
so
did a
thank
great
you.
job. Thank you very much to the
To
staff
Chris
there.
and Jenny
Yeah,
and
there's a lot of work
Debbie
done by
and
you.
Lisa and.
Commissioner Nelson.
The Christmas Journey, New Hope Church, Williamsburg, District 6. This weekend, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Next weekend, 12th, 13th, 14th, 5:30 to 7:30. If you guys have never done that, it's beautiful. You get on a horse-drawn sleigh, you go up into the woods, you walk through the whole kind of the Christmas story into the town of Bethlehem where there are Centurion guards, and it takes probably 45 minutes. It's beautiful. There's hot chocolate at the end, and the whole thing is free. But I recommend it's a beautiful Christmas time thing to do.
I've been to it, and I've also been to Israel. I couldn't tell a difference.
You weren't paying
Bet you
attention.
can now. Commissioner McAllister.
So on the 6th, we have a light up Interlaken, and we have horse-drawn sleighs also, but they don't go up into the woods like yours, but we do go around Tom's parking lot, and it's pretty nice. Everything's free. We have free cocoa, chili, hot dogs, water for the kids. Santa Claus comes to town, free s'mores, and we have one of the most extravagant light shows out there. That starts at 3 o'clock on Saturday if you're so inclined. We'd love to see you.
Wait. Commissioner Andrews.
Yeah, just along those lines, right here in District 7, the Grand Traverse County Parks and Rec Department will be having a Christmas stroll, holiday
Oh,
tree
yeah.
stroll on December 5th from 3 to 5. That one is also free, and you
hot
don't even have to
chocolate.
drive as far if you're here in town.
Hey, hey, hey.
I mean, from here, from right here.
But is there a horse-drawn sleigh?
There is no horse, I do not believe there are horses.
No, but there's free hot chocolate at that one too.
There you
So
go.
you can go all weekend, free hot chocolate.
It's all about the cocoa.
Any more commissioner reports? Any department reports?
Yes, sir, thank you. As mentioned, next week, Wednesday will be a special meeting to address the budget. We have a budget hearing scheduled for December 17th. We need to have a specific number of days ahead of time for that to be noticed. So that will be appropriately noticed for the 17th. And tonight is the last hosted recess at the TC Philharmonic off of Garfield. And largely had very good response to the hosting of recess over the last 11 outings, and had a lot of very good feedback and interaction with the community. We've actually had applicants when we had HR present, when we had Lydia Gulo from Resource Recovery come in. We talked about the MMP and the septic ordinance. There was a lot of favorable input from the group then about thank you for, I'm not going to say what they said, but something not going in the bay any longer. That was very positive. So again, they've asked us to host again next year for, it's new to them. Typically, it's a bank that does it, and they're selling something or trying to get, that's not the case for us, but I would like to have your input on that. We did it last year under spending authority, and I would just encourage comments from you ahead of it.
I think it's been excellent. I've had some very good conversations with constituents, other business leaders. It has, I think one of the reasons we started this is people in our survey said that they felt like they didn't have any way to connect. And what's interesting to me is, like, you'll have the parks director talking directly to somebody, the administrator, Nate, straight from Nate, Starr, is actually able to talk to the little people and have conversations. Sorry, I like to give you a hard time. But truly, it has, people can come and speak directly to different members of the administration team and the commissioners, and I think it's been great. So I would encourage us to do it again next year.
How much does it cost?
About $12,000.
$12,000 each?
No.
For the year.
Right, $1,000 per event, 12 events.
Yep.
I've enjoyed it. I won a baseball American flag.
I won really expensive golf balls.
Well, there you go. I guess we're going to do that again.
Are we supposed
Which
to
I'm
be
start
getting
5?
prizes?
Yeah, are we eligible?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It takes a while to get, so if you're going to please attend, I think it would be great to have more commissioners attend if you can. It starts officially at 5, but it's what, Commissioner Flynn, would you say 5:30 before it really starts to ramp up?
Yeah, 5:30.
It's a pretty good hard stop, and we get unfettered access to them, and we present whatever we want. The most recent recess we had at the curling club was, we were approached by a condominium apartment complex saying, we have affordable housing for your staff, and we have vacancies in our apartment complex. Please push that out to your new hires and your staff as a way to get at, people interested. So it's not just a one-way conversation. It is truly we receive a lot of feedback.
One thing I like is that, and it's kind of replaced our coffee with the county sort of thing, right? But one thing I like about it is that the ticker, that the organizing entity does a really good job of getting the word out there about it.
agree.
That we just can't do on our own with Coffee to the County, with the county. And so that, I think there's a really big benefit in that because we reach a wider audience that way. The only downside is it does seem like after a while when you go to the networking things, it is often the same people who are there each time, kind of. So that's the downside. But, and then the Coffee to the County I liked because you didn't have to go somewhere and have drinks, like it was during the day, and you could have coffee somewhere, and it was around the county, and it is a nice alternative for people who don't want to go to a happy hour. So it would be nice to maybe still have some of the coffees around the county, especially outside of Traverse City, because, most of these are in or near the city. So it would be nice, some Garfield Township, but it'd be nice to have some other county events throughout other districts.
I really would like to continue Coffee with the County. We've had really good success with that. One of the biggest successes we had was one of the last ones we had was in Interlochen, where we had this big discussion about the traffic being stopped by Interlochen Arts Academy students. Was it legal? Was it not legal? And the safety aspect of it. Because of that discussion, Trey Devy was like, "Hey, we'll just build a tunnel," and they built a tunnel under one.
I think it was a little more involved in that, but yeah.
Yes, but that discussion was the last discussion, so we'll take credit. But
well, we told them so that they had a plan all along, and it just died. And then 3 people talked about it and said, well, why can't we do that? And then there was a phone call and they're like, hey, we're doing it. And it didn't take very long for them to break ground. I mean, it was fast.
But to your point, Commissioner Walter, the ticker they give us, as part of this package, they give us this number of press releases and notices within, so we can notice the coffees in the ticker, so we'll do better at that.
Yeah, I'd like to see, I mean, it doesn't have to be monthly, but even if we can do some.
Quarterly, maybe.
Quarterly or bi-monthly or whatever outside to reach some more constituents.
I agree. I think we need to do, the recesses typically in the city, Garfield Township, East Bay Township, the coffee was, and that's a classic example, is Mr. Elgermeans. You know, Green Lake that was great, Interlochen. I'd like to see some of that, Fife Lake.
Do one at the dam?
What's that?
Do one at the dam?
There you go, there you go. Have dam coffee break?
Yeah.
I mean, you did have one up in Elk Rapids, so.
We did. Second public comment?
Second public comment.
Sorry.
They're all right, we're cashed out, we're just wandering.
Somebody's still awake.
Don't cry.
Barely. Lloyd Morris, and I'm from the amazing Commissioner Morris's district, Long Lake Township. I'd like to speak on 2 things. First of all, as a prior zoning administrator for Long Lake Township, the way the county planning department and planning commission had been set up at that time was just a bump in the road. It was another bureaucratic step that we had to go through, that our planning commission would pass something, and then normally, like right now, then it goes to the township board, they pass it, it's in effect. At that time, we had to go to lengthen the process out at least 1 month, take it to the county planning commission, who couldn't say yay or nay or anything, but we had to have that check mark before we could take it to our township board. If you go back to the same as you had before, it's a waste of time and money. Don't do it. I like the EDC. You have and I'm going to get this wrong, MNP now? Is that the thing that we have now
MPO.
with the whole area? I think that is a good place to do what you're talking about, somewhat. And at the EDC, you do need a coordinator, but you don't need a whole process like you used to have. Thank you. Second of all, I'd like to make a comment on the county coffee with the county. I've been to 1 or 2 of those. I thought it was pretty good. I'm still personally waiting on shots with Scott.
I know, right? I'll get back to you, Your Eminence.
Steve Plamondon, Chair, Northwest Regional Airport Authority. I reside in Leelanau County. First, I'd like to apologize personally to Commissioner Flynn for your lack of sleep.
It's the cat,
now
not
that the stress of this is done, it won't be a factor. I can't help with the cat.
Yeah.
Thank you all for your decision today. I know it's created stress for all of us. We appreciate the result. You drive the bus in Grand Traverse County, but you steer the ship in the region. And in my mind, the ship's in good hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mitch Treadwell. I reside in Ashley Walters District in Traverse City. I'm a city commissioner, but here I'm before you as a private citizen. I am disappointed yet again that this board has chosen to kick the can down the road with the Lower Lakes special assessment or other funding mechanism. The dam in Antrim County is outside of this county's jurisdiction, but it is part of a shared waterway and thus is ultimately a shared responsibility. The city of Traverse City has had 4 dams that were structurally deficient. We removed 3 of them. The 4th is currently under reconstruction a mere block away from us. We've learned a number of lessons through this process. I won't say that everything went smoothly, but it did highlight the need for maintaining these aging pieces of infrastructure, as did the dam failures that we saw in Midland and Gladwin County. Now, I'm not saying that we will imminently see a failure of the dam in Elk Rapids or elsewhere in the chain of lakes, but having a framework in which to move forward is important. Yes, I understand the need for more information and a clearer picture about how costs will be shared for that, but Grand Traverse is both the smallest piece of the watershed and has the largest tax base of any of the 3 counties. So we should be the most capable of meeting our expectation as part of that shared responsibility. And I hope that this board can find a way to work collaboratively with adjacent counties to fund and maintain infrastructure before it gets to a state of failure. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more comments?
Uh-oh.
You're all under arrest.
Hi, I'm Celine Root, Grand Traverse County, and in regards to Program Alpha with the solar panels, I have solar panels. It was the worst decision I ever made. I pay more between my bill and my what I owe. They say, yeah, you'll pay less on your electric. Yeah, it'll help here, but it doesn't help much in my electric. Right now, it doesn't help at all. Kids are covered in snow. Most of the summer, yeah, it helps, but it does not offset what I pay less, what I pay on the loan. So I end up paying more every month, no matter what. And I end up paying twice as much when their output is low due to weather. So when it comes to solar panels, I'd say don't do it. You're probably going to regret it. I know I did. All I had to say.
Thank you. Any more public comment? Going once, going twice, 3 times the charm. All right, if there's no objections, we are adjourned.
I thought she was coming to tell us all her cars were towed.
I know, right?
I know.